WNBF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Ambers. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
A glorious Friday afternoon to you as we welcome you on into the sports bar. Thanks for listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. And thanks to everybody checking us out on our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester on YouTube and on Twitch. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications while you're there. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia. It's a glorious Friday because the Yankees advance, the Cubs advance. We've got a weekend full of action. The sun is out. The weather is going to be perfect this weekend. All I'm asking, with everything that we've had for the last 3 days, the drama, the vibes, everything, we couldn't get a baseball game on a Friday night? I know there's high school football. I don't want to take away from Section 5. I know that the WNBA finals get underway tonight. But did baseball miss another opportunity here to take advantage? They have some momentum. You have some eyeballs on the board. I mean, the action in the wild card series was fierce. It was awesome.
What is the commitment tonight for TBS? It's nothing, right? So TBS has the National League. So they've got Cubs in Milwaukee, which that would have been a tight turnaround, I admit. Like
Sure.
The Cubs yesterday, get on a plane. Milwaukee would have been at an advantage tonight. Why aren't the Dodgers playing tonight? Like, to your point, that flexible. That's the game tomorrow night. And to TBS's credit, they recognize this is the game that a lot of people want to watch tomorrow night, so they're putting this at 6:38 tomorrow night, just as we're edging into Saturday night prime time. Shohei at Citizens Bank Ballpark, Philly crowd.
I would have taken that on a Friday night.
A lot of us would have.
Yeah.
Like, what is ESPN protecting the WNBA finals? What is this? They're not part of this, of this round of divisional series, but yeah, that's a little disappointing. I think Baseball Danger thinks that we, as a sports fan, have the time on Saturday to sit down at 2 o'clock when Cubs and Brewers start and watch all the way through to past 11 o'clock when the Mariners will finish
Just
up.
out of touch. I mean, this isn't the NFL we're talking about here. This is Major League Baseball. By the way, the weather is going to be unbelievable this weekend. And for us in the Northeast, when we know what's ahead of us, I mean, am I going to be spending every waking minute I can outside tomorrow? Yes. Yes, I will. From the dad run in the morning to yard work, I will be outside all day tomorrow soaking up as much vitamin D as I can.
I'm going to be with your brother-in-law tomorrow, and I can't wrap my head around this. Well, I can because I've been prepping for it all week. RT hockey starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's an exhibition game, but you do this just to kind of get going, and I want to see all these new players and the new coach and everything. And it's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. Like, hopefully that ice will be good tomorrow.
Does not feel like hockey season is around the corner when you have the weather doing what it's been doing. No complaining. No complaining.
Not at all.
But yeah, I don't think baseball is exactly on point when they believe that, what you're suggesting. That a lot of us, I think, on a Saturday afternoon in the fall, and by the way, college football is also a thing as well for a big majority of the country. That's going to capture attention on a Saturday afternoon more than a baseball game will.
To your point about the weather, I got home last night, and I'm usually pretty disciplined during weeknights, and Thursday would be a weeknight. Nah, last night was just so nice. I'm like, executive producer, Hun, here's the box. Plop, we're going out on the deck.
Little box of wine on the back deck.
Yeah, little box of wine, little yacht rock, and
fantastic. I'm all out of sorts, and I think I've been all out of sorts since last night. As we were talking about yesterday, the Cubs getting the win, but I wasn't able to really watch it. I was putting out good cosmic karma out into the universe for the North Siders in Chicago. I was being a good dad. I was making a good choice. I would have rather watched the Cubs, but I know how important it is to support my daughter, so I went to the Mercy mini schedule night, and I was there and going through all the classes that my daughter goes through and meeting all of her teachers and getting alerts on my watch as I'm looking down. I'm like, oh, okay, 3-0. All right, good. We're okay. 3-1. Oh God, 3-1 with 2 on. Oh God, they're gonna choke this away.
I thought for sure. So I think Jackson Merrill's like the young star on this Padre team, like Tatis. Okay, you paid him, but Merrill with the home run. You had 2 hit batsmen, and like, okay, get this guy out of here. But there was a clear ball 4. And if that's next year when you have ABS, that's a simple tap of the head.
Sure.
I want to know who is exactly against ABS. That's like the person that's against expedited review in the NFL. It makes the game better. Now, the Padres, I thought, overreacted to that. It doesn't come down to one pitch. It never does. So you didn't do a bunch of other things. And by the way, you have 2 runners on. Get the guy in. And don't let it go to the 9th inning for that matter. Darvish was a little bit of a roll of the dice that did not pay off. You and I were in the studio yesterday. I'm thinking, all right, if the Cubs had the bases loaded, they were up 2-0. If the Padres get out of this, they got a shot. They did get out of it, but as it turns out, those were the 2 runs that ended up being the margin of the win.
Yeah. I wrapped up at my daughter's school and met up with some friends to watch the end of the Yankees game and Thursday Night Football simultaneously. And since then, like I said, I've been out of sorts because, and maybe this is karma coming back my way. For years, I've done the Saul Rosenberg jerky boy voice. It's just
retired now.
We've retired it. We got guilted into retiring it, unfortunately. But I still do it often, in my head. And I lost my glasses, and I don't know where my glasses are. My glasses. When you lose something, when you never lose something, you know where it's supposed to be, but it's not there. And remember the day where my phone died and I was just completely out of sorts and I couldn't come into the studio because I couldn't function because I couldn't get my.
Yeah.
You remember that day well, Gino. I know you do. But that's how I feel today. I'm like, I can't see. I don't know where they are. They've just disappeared. They blipped. I have no idea where they are, and so out of sorts all day. And I'm blaming being out of sorts last night, watching the Yankees and watching the Rams and the Niners until late hours of the night, and wondering like, okay, where did it all go wrong for me? Where did I put those things? Did they fall? Did I drop them? Are they gone forever? I've got too many unanswered questions, and it's driving me crazy.
I realized last night, while you're searching for glasses, how addicted I am to the NFL, because I totally was engrossed in Yankees Red Sox. I thought the drama was high. I thought both kids pitched really well. I felt bad for the kid from Boston because, gosh, do you blame him for a little duck snort that falls in and a guy who can't field at first? And yeah, I mean, those things happen in baseball. The Yankees, the one thing they never do, they manufacture runs. But the point being, that whole game, I'm into it, pitch by pitch. I'm like, not once did I turn over to the NFL game, and it was danger. It was refreshing.
No, see,
I break the chain. I'm like, okay, I'm off the leash here. I don't need to watch football.
I didn't feel that way.
No.
I mean, I was at a place where I was able to watch both, which is kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to pay attention to what was going on in both, and the Yankee game didn't disappoint me. I mean, Schlittler was magnificent, and to see Boone let him go and go over 100 pitches and to deal more strikeouts than any rookie pitcher in Yankees postseason history. I mean, it was a historic performance.
Question. Audio up on the Yankees or the NFL?
Where I was, it was on the NFL.
Oh.
Yeah, it was on the NFL game. I don't know why. I mean, I got there late, so maybe there was a contingent of Niner fans that wanted the game on, or maybe they just, but there were a lot of Yankee fans. There were a lot of Yankee fans in the bar.
It could be, too, like it's one of those, all right, do I really want to invest in Amazon? Or you know what? Maybe I'll take that money once a month and I'll go out to eat. That could be it. Like I would think that, places have a little bit of a bump Thursday night.
Sure.
knowing that you don't want to make that investment.
Sure. And, well, that game didn't disappoint either, Gino. I got to tell you, I know you didn't watch, but I will tell you, that was a fun game. And a few observations. One, Rams house is not Rams house when the Niners are in town.
No. I remember that NFC Championship game. That was
It's embarrassing.
Like, what?
It is embarrassing. If you're a Rams fan in L.A., it's clear. You have tickets, you're selling them, and you're selling them to the enemy because it is all Niner fans at SoFi.
Is it Maple Leaf fan taking over Buffalo?
It's worse.
It's what?
It's worse.
Nothing can be worse than that.
No, it is. I think it is worse. What would you say it is at its worst in Buffalo? 50-50? 60-40?
No, I would say it's 80-20.
80-20.
Oh, my gosh. I would say if you've ever been in one of those games, it's a miserable experience.
All right, so maybe it's on par then. I
Yeah.
would say it's about 80-20. Maybe 85-15 in favor of the Niners fans at SoFi. And I can't speak ill of Mac Jones anymore. Not after what I saw last night. Mac Jones, you could say he's a system quarterback. Well, that's fine. He found his system. And Shanahan is well on his way to coach of the year because you lose Brock Purdy, the guy that you made your franchise guy. You bring in Mac Jones, who everybody assumed was just a cast-off and wasn't going to be anything anymore in the NFL. He has an unbelievable game, not just from a statistical standpoint in his execution. Toughness. The kid is hurt. He is hurt. His knee is busted, and he's getting crushed by the Rams. They are pounding him, and you can tell it's a struggle for him just to get up off the turf. And I loved it. I don't love the guy being hurt. I loved watching the guy. He was like watching a fight. He just kept getting up and taking their best shot and getting up and doing it again. I'm high on this Niners team. I was high. They're my NFC team to the Super Bowl. I am high on this team, and I think Shanahan is coaching his ass off. I think he and Salah being reunited, that defense, even without Joey Bosa, making plays when they need to make plays. You saw them walk it off on a defensive stand in overtime. Kind of a bad call by Sean McVay, which doesn't happen often. Like I didn't like the call.
Explains what happened there.
4th down, overtime, Niners up by 3, and rather than try to tie it with the field goal, it's 4th and 1. They want to convert. And he basically just runs right into the line. I mean, it just wasn't a very creative call.
I can't kill him on that because then the Niners get the ball and they could win it with a field goal. Right?
No, this is after the Niners already had scored a field goal.
Oh, okay. But
So
then the Niners get the ball back, though.
They
so
wouldn't have got. They would have got the ball
next
back at a
score
tie.
would win.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
But they weren't playing for the tie. They were playing for the win. Like I don't fault him going for it. I think the play call, and he admitted it. Like, no, it wasn't a great play call. That's on me, boys. But to see the pounding that Mac Jones got, to see the emotion of Robert Saleh, who I will contend is a very good defensive coordinator, not a good head coach, good defensive coordinator. That stand, that 4th down stand to walk it off in overtime, the Niners have something going there in the West, and I don't think it's. I think it's a little cute that they're hosting the Super Bowl this year, but I think there is a chance that the Niners are the representative for the NFC.
Well, the NFC, I think, is wide open. Philadelphia, they're undefeated, but they have flaws. I think the story there, and you started with that, is Mac Jones. But if you revisit Mac Jones, isn't that kind of a overlooked storyline when we saw the Patriots kind of tail off? We just kind of assumed, they picked the wrong guy. But now we realize things that maybe didn't come to light, that, well, the head coach was making the girlfriend dress in red pants so he could see her at camp.
Right.
The head coach was hiring his buddy with no offensive experience whatsoever to be the offensive coordinator. The head coach wasn't even talking to his quarterback named Mac Jones the final year. How is that all supposed to work? But yet we were all like, oh, Belichick's not a good personnel guy. He picked the wrong guy.
Wrong.
Aren't we rooting for Mac Jones? Wouldn't it be great to see him?
I'll tell you what, Gino. I mean, you look at where he's been. I think it was Jacksonville after New England, right?
Yeah, a little later.
I mean, he's just been in incompetent organizations. Shanahan knows what he's doing. Shanahan has a system. Shanahan is a good coach. And what he's done with Mac Jones, at minimum, I mean, it's almost like the Niners, if they're smart, I think they have him for another year after this year. But you could actually, I wouldn't hesitate extending him, just knowing this guy can win us games no matter what. If something happens to Brock Purdy, we've got to guarantee that this guy is going to win us games. It could be the postseason. It could be the regular season. It could be overtime. It doesn't matter. He wasn't throwing to anybody. He doesn't have any. He has McCaffrey. But everybody's hurt on that team. They are all injured on the offensive side of the ball, and he made it work. They made it work. I think Shanahan is doing one hell of a job coaching that team this year. I'm high on the Niners, and they get the win in overtime. That was happening as the Yankees were also advancing.
Wasn't Shanahan high on Mac Jones coming out of the draft? Wasn't that and it was actually Bulky we're taking Trey Lance. Okay. And
yeah.
Okay, well, where's Bulky today? He farted his way out of the league, literally.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's the recap from last night. I still don't know where the hell my glasses are, but we're gonna power through this afternoon.
You ever get the buddy that like, oh, you want to borrow mine? Here?
I actually drove home to get a spare, my old pair that these are beat to hell, and I'm like, I really don't like wearing these because they're so beat up. But I really just need functionality now. So.
This is something that when I was 30, I would laugh at people like this. And then you realize the time when it happens to you. And Danger, I was at one of your favorite places. I'm at Disney at the Rainforest Cafe, which is really dark. And they hand me the bill. I'm like,
can't see it.
I can't read. I turn on I can't. What the heck is wrong with me? I can't read this bill. And I'm asking for people to read the bill.
Yeah. For me, I think it happened about 8 years ago. I just remember waking up one morning, looking at my phone, and saying, can't read this, don't know what's going on, can't see a thing. Going to my eye doctor, having my eye doctor test me and say, hey, congratulations, you got 20/20 vision.
What?
Doc,
how?
I can't see. Oh, he's like, oh, yeah, that's because you're old. I'm like, thanks, Doc. Great. Yeah, you'll go 1.5, maybe 2, and you'll be okay. 2, magnified 2%, 1.5, right around there. You should be okay. Yeah, thanks, Doc. Appreciate that. Where's the copay? Got it. I'm old. Yeah, I'm the same way. The guy that had to wear his readers. I don't like it, Gino. I don't like. I'm going to have to buy a new pair of readers this weekend. I don't know what happened. They blipped. They disappeared. Completely turned to dust. I have no idea what happened. We have a fun show for you this afternoon. We're going to talk Bills, Patriots with Thad Brown from News 8 Sports here in about 5-10 minutes or so and get his take on the 4-0 Bills hosting the 500 Patriots coming in on Sunday night.
Yeah, let's talk about this matchup Sunday night, which you're going out. I mean, what's that crowd going to be? Beautiful day.
Yep.
80 degrees. You get out there. Could you ask for a nicer tailgate? Everybody is going to be in a great mood heading into that, but can the Bills deliver? Last time, it wasn't that long ago, the Bills were on Sunday Night Football, started out really poorly, and Josh Allen bailed them out. So will this start be any different? We will talk to Thad Brown, News 8, coming up here shortly.
It's one of those games where I would say if you don't even have tickets, you just want to be a part of the tailgate. Like, spend your day tailgating. I'm not going to the game. I'm just going to hang out with buddies and tailgate all day. I wouldn't be opposed to that, given how beautiful it's going to be all day on Sunday. Joining us in the 4 o'clock hour, our buddy D.A. Damon Amendola, host of the Bill Maddock podcast. We'll get his thoughts on the Bills' win from last week against the Saints and a look ahead here to New England on Sunday night as well.
D.A. was up there for this. He was coming up for his trip, so we'll ask him how that kind of went and get his thoughts. Is this a dangerous situation for the Bills coming up Sunday night? Could this be loss number one? Damon Amendola, the Bill Maddock podcast coming up at 4:25.
Now, you kind of tipped your hand yesterday, Gino, in saying you feel like this could be the Bills' first loss of the year.
Not could be. I believe it will be.
Okay.
I believe that because of the Bills' issues on defense, and you wouldn't think, oh, your third corner being out, oh, who cares? Like, no, Dorian Strong he's been ruled out. T.J. Graham, questionable for this game. So the official injury report is yet to come out, but until they show me that they can shut down a quality running team like the Patriots are, I think that's the one thing they can do, particularly with Drake May. This is a concern, and you're not going to go 17-0, so this is going to be one of those 3, 4, 5 losses for Buffalo on the season. I have this 27-23 New England.
I have the Bills 28-21, winning but not covering. I don't think it's going to be comfortable, but I can't go against my bold prediction that they are going to win every game at home this year. And I don't know that the Patriots are as good as a lot of people are propping them up to be. I think they're better than what they were last year. I think that's fair, but I want to see what they can do against a quality opponent like Buffalo to really try to legitimize what they are, what Drake May is. I do think Diggs has himself a little bit of a day. I almost feel like that's May, forcing it to Diggs. So yeah, and the run game is worrisome, right? Like you've got a speedster in Henderson. Ramondre Stevenson is powerful and could be hard to bring down. Maybe the Bills are opportunistic; they can force a fumble. Stevenson has a case of the fumbleitis. We'll see how it all plays out. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I do think the Bills move to 5-0 with a win against those Patriots on Sunday night. They'll look good doing it too with those rivalry uniforms, the whiteout that they're attempting here at Highmark.
I want to see how this looks on the field. From the promotional shoots, they look, and I've seen them on the rack. Now they're on sale around town. Seems like this might be, one of those Christmas gifts, for the Bills fan in your life. But normally I'm the one who, the alternate uniform. Baseball. What are you doing? Why are you putting the Red Sox in yellow or green or the Padres in floral? Stop with this. But I think this actually fits.
Yeah, it works out well.
Yeah.
And I think it'll look good on Sunday night as well. Hard for me to imagine that the Patriots are going to be intimidated by a whiteout or the uniforms of their opponent. But I just think the Bills are just a better team, better coached, better quarterback, should get the win. Thad Brown, News 8 sports director, stopping by the sports bar next to share his thoughts on Bills Patriots on the Fan Rochester.
Takes that hit different. The Fan Rochester.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Linebacker Dorian Williams and corner Dorian Strong have both been ruled out for the Patriots game coming up on Sunday night. The Bills Friday injury report has yet to come out. Head coach Sean McDermott knows Patriot quarterback Drake May is making improvement.
Very impressive young player. Can do everything that the quarterback position calls for. He can throw it. He can run it. He scrambles with it. It's clear that I would imagine they feel, excited about the future for him and then for their organization because of his ability.
We'll talk some Bills coming up next. Thad Brown from News 8 will be joining us. Coverage Sunday begins at 4 o'clock. The call from Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio coming up in the 8 o'clock hour Sunday. No baseball games tonight. 4 tomorrow, including the Yankees and Jays in Toronto. The Sabres play their final preseason game tonight in Pittsburgh. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader. The Fan Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
The Bills are 4-0, and through 4 weeks, we've spent a lot of time talking about how this defense looks similar to last season's defense, a defense that we know in retrospect just wasn't good enough to get to the ultimate prize. As we welcome in Thad Brown from News 8 Sports. Thad, are your eyes seeing the same thing that we're seeing? Should there be reasons for Bills fans to be concerned about Sean McDermott's defense, knowing that if it is the same output as what we had last year, it's just not going to be good enough? It's not championship caliber.
Yeah, I think there's reason to think that. Obviously, you're giving up 20 points back-to-back to, a Dolphins offense. We don't really know what they are. We never really are going to find out who they are at full speed because, Tyreek Hill's done for the year now. And then the Saints, who are and probably were a little more competitive than expected. So, look, I think the run defense, I wonder if it's always going to be a concern with this team just because they're clearly built to defend the pass first, and you can't have everything. So if you're going to, pick a smaller, faster defense, and, you're going to, be a team that's going to be susceptible to being bludgeoned in the run game. The thing is, though, is that as much as I see those things, I do see reasons for optimism to think it can be different. Number one is Joey Bosa. As long as he's healthy and playing at the level that he's played at for most of this season, which isn't, peak Joey Bosa, but it's still pretty darn good. I mean, the guy who played against the Jets was fantastic. Then there's hope that guy can show up in January, and be a difference maker. And Ed Oliver, the one game he played, was at a really high level. So even if the secondary is a question mark, and I think corner 2 is still something that needs to be better. I think the safeties are improving, but have a ways to go. As long as there's pieces on the front 4 that can be game deciders, game wreckers, playoff deciders, then there's reason to think this defense can be better, even if we haven't seen it for sure yet.
So as we're talking, Thad, the official Friday report just came out. We knew Strong and Williams. Sean McDermott already had ruled them out. Questionable 4 guys, Spencer Brown and TJ Sanders. My question about 2 other questionable guys, Milano and Oliver. From your observations this week, is it fair to say Milano and Oliver are trending in the right direction to play on Sunday?
Yeah, I'd go so far as to say I'd be pretty surprised that they did not play. Ed Oliver seemed to feel pretty good, and without directly asking him if he was going to play, I think the indication there is that he would. Of course, Matt Milano, we don't get much time with him, so it's hard to get a read. But, both those guys look good in practice and seemed everything that you'd want to see, every box that you'd want to check for those guys to play, got checked this week beyond, just getting the approval for sure.
What are you seeing out of New England through 4 games, Thad? There's a lot of people that are high on Drake May's performance through the first quarter of the season. We kind of know what Diggs is, or we think we know what he is at this stage of his career. And defensively, is that a secondary that can be picked on a little bit by Josh Allen here?
I'd go the other way with the secondary. At least with the corners, Gonzalez and Carlton Davis, that might be one of the better duos in the league. I know the pass defense in general hasn't been good, but they've been banged up. They're both going to play for sure, at least at this point this week. So I do think on the outside, at least, New England's pretty strong. The thing that really stands out is the run defense so far. Their first 3 games, they didn't even allow 65 yards rushing. And then Carolina got like $120, but most of that was after the Panthers were down 30. And, it shouldn't be a surprise with the money they spent on, grabbing a guy like Milton Williams. You already had Christian Barmore, a former first-round pick there. So and Mike Vrabel is the coach, of course. It's not a surprise that this team is good against the run. And the Bills' offensive line, you could tell that this front seven has the Bills' attention and their respect, because we were asking the guys what's different, and they're like, look, last year this team, you'd come to the line of scrimmage, they'd dance around. Clearly they were trying to trick the Bills last year. And the guys say, this year they line up and they say, come get us. And, whether or not that works remains to be seen. But again, the Bills certainly respect it more than what they had last year. And to me, that's the big matchup, is Buffalo's number one run offense against New England's number two run defense. And I think we're pretty confident that number one run offense for the Bills is legit. It's not, oh, you played four soft teams. We don't really know what New England yet. So finding out Sunday night, to me, is the number one thing I'm looking at.
We're talking to Thad Brown, News 8, as one honor for Buffalo Bill, and it's really not a surprise, right? James Cook, the AFC Offensive Player of the Month for September. That's great, Thad. My question is this. I didn't see him getting this much of the share of the offense. It's working. Is it sustainable? 75 carries, if you project that over a season, that's 300 carries. I mean, my gosh, there are only 6 guys in the league who did that last year. So is this sustainable, or might we see, Cook kind of tail off here, and maybe we get a little more Ray Davis as well as Ty Johnson at some point?
I think it's fair to wonder about it, because Cook is built a lot smaller than most of those other workhorse guys. Generally your Saquon Barkley type guy is a 200, 220-pounder, and Cook doesn't even go 190 if he had, tied bricks to his feet. So, the concern about him being able to last through all those carries is legit. But the thing is, he's playing at such a high level right now. I mean, he's a borderline top 5 back. He's looked as good as any. I mean, watching him on film, he looks like LaShawn McCoy when he was in Buffalo in terms of being able to create runs on his own, create, space on his own. So I don't really care about the worry. When he's playing at that level, I want to keep running him out there. And, the concern right now is theoretical. It's not like he's Joey Bosa, where the last 3 years he's played like 5, 7, and 9 games. It's just he's small, so, is it going to be a problem? Well, until it's a problem, I'm not going to worry about it. And as long as the guy's playing, at the level he's at, I want to keep putting him out there, giving him touches. And I'm not really worried about what's going to happen with Ray Davis. So I like the play, even if there's a reasonable concern that it could be a problem later on.
Thad Brown, News 8 Sports, joining us in the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia on the Fan, Rochester. Thad, you mentioned the Bills and corner 2 on the defensive side of the ball. We're looking for a little bit more out of that position. Trey White has been pretty good against the run. We've seen him make some tackles. We've seen him miss some tackles, but we kind of still get the sense that we could do a little bit better there. And Sean McDermott last week, I think, said something that made a lot of people's ears perk up when he used the word "if" in regards to Maxwell Hairston's return this season. Do you get the sense that it might just be a redshirt year for Hairston as he recovers from that knee injury, and we see more of him in his second season with the Bills?
Yeah, 2 parts to that question. I think number one, I think he will be healthy at some point this year. He's been the last few days, running around on the side, exercising. This is not a guy that looks like he's going to be injured, legitimately injured all year long. Now, could the Bills turn it into type of a redshirt year? They might have to, because, most of the stuff that you want to have a guy learn when it comes to his first season happens in training camp. And you saw with Cole Bishop last year, once he missed that 3 weeks, it was really, really hard for him to, turn around and catch up. And, Hairston missed basically the same chunk of camp, and now, he's not even, physically ready to be on a field, and we're going into week 5. So even if he's healthy enough to go, maybe if you want to give him a shot and Trey White's really not working out, you try and give him a chance in some small packages, limit his time, hope that you happen to catch lightning in a bottle with a guy that can just kind of learn on the fly. But the practical reality is that there just isn't the time in the regular season to give Max Hairston the remedial work he probably needs to be ready. So, I think there's a decent chance that a red shirt, but whatever you want to call what Cole Bishop did last year, I think it's very likely Max Hairston's going to live the same year this season.
Yeah, in the history of the Bills franchise, like, you think of great players who maybe left for other teams, say like a Thurman Thomas, the 1 year in Miami we may have forgotten about, or you could count to any number of things, but I think the Diggs story is unique, Thad, that it was great and then it ended really awkwardly, to put it nicely. So all that being said, I mean, this is the first time he's back. How do you think this presents itself coming up Sunday night? I mean, at least this week, everybody on both sides seems to be saying the right stuff leading up to this.
I think for the most part, when it comes to how Diggs existed in that locker room, and when I mean the most part, I mean, if he was there for 1,000 days, 850 or 900 of them were pretty good, and it got bad later, in his tenure with the Bills. And I still think there's a large number of guys who respect what he brought. They always talked about him as a good teammate, even towards the end when clearly it hadn't gotten past a certain point where it was that good. So I think there's a healthy amount of respect in terms of, player to player. I mean, Diggs as a guy with New England, I don't think you can overlook the fact that he ripped up an ACL at the end of October and was ready and functional for week 1. It was good enough that he had 100 yards in week 4. I mean, you got to be a special type of athlete to make that happen, especially at 30 years old. So I don't think Diggs is going to be, elite wide receiver 1, but he's probably good enough to be a headache, no matter what kind of secondary you're going against. I'm sure the fans are going to have a very decisive one-way reaction to Stephon Diggs, but I think he's going to be a legitimate, respectable part of this game for the New England offense.
Thad, is that the number one concern for the Bills if they're looking at New England? Is there something that New England presents that should scare the Bills?
I don't think scare is the right word, but the number one concern to me is Drake May, just because the efficiency numbers have been very, very good. Right now he's like number 1 by a mile in the league in terms of third down efficiency. Now, he hasn't really done a lot. Like, the eye test doesn't say, wow, look at those 3 throws, or look at how he took apart, like, some great defense like Green Bay. They haven't really played a murderer's row of teams, but the underlying stuff is very, very good, and he's dangerous with his legs. He's got multiple rushing touchdowns already this year. So in a similar way to Josh Allen, and I mean like a poor man's Josh Allen at this point, Drake May can be a guy that if it's 3rd and 5, the scheme doesn't have to be great. He can just go out there and get you a bucket. And that, to me, is the thing that if the Patriots are going to win this game, barring ridiculous turnovers or something like that, it's going to be Drake May continuing to play at against the Carolinas and Miamis of the world in Orchard Park against a 4-0 Bills team.
Your thoughts on what the Bills are going to be wearing, Thad? I'm not a big fan of alternate uniform, particularly in baseball, but these seem, at least the pictures we're seeing, you saw the helmets this week. How do you think this prints on TV coming up on Sunday night?
Yeah, I think it's gonna look okay on TV. The big problem I have with these unis is that all the promotional pictures were white unis in front of like ice scenes, right? That it's going to be like 85 degrees on Sunday. They played this game the absolute wrong day to do cold front uniforms, and I know that the schedule and the Bills weren't in control of that. So I don't think, like, if they played this game in December with it snowing, I think those uniforms would be fantastic. At night on a green field, I think it's going to be okay. I am glad the game's at night because, like, during the day, the logo sticker on the helmet, that silver thing, was so bright that it blended with the helmet to where you really couldn't even tell anything was on there. So I'm glad it's a night game from that point of view. I was kind of like middling on the uniforms, but I do think they'll look okay on TV, but not nearly as good as the pictures look, because the pictures put them in the exact right environment for that uniform to be cool.
I think he's going to hate those uniforms more than anybody on Sunday night is Tirico and Collinsworth. We've called games where you go white on silver.
Yeah.
You can't see the numbers from the booth.
Can't. Like, they've actually changed those rules in New York State high school athletics that when you I don't know how you're going to be able to pick up the numbers. You're going to have to really do your homework if you're those guys.
Just think of that, and that's such a great call that, like I said, I can already tell you the way the logo blended in the daylight, it was a pain in the neck, and I'm sure the number is going to be the same way. The other thing, too, I've seen some people wearing the uniforms when I drive into Bills games already this year. I'm not sure the little silvery stuff on the shoulder pads really works. I want to see that in person. Like, I think the white part of it and some of the Bills decal on the side, which is kind of like crystalline ice, that looks really cool. But the gray kind of spray on the shoulder pads, I'm a little skeptical on how that's going to play off.
Thad, I got to ask you about the Yankees. And it's funny how in sports, like, a story can flip in the matter of 48 hours because what happens in game 1, and we're legitimately having a conversation about should this team still be managed by Aaron Boone, and then all the right buttons are pushed after that, and now it looks like you have a third guy in Schlittler who can deliver, and they're facing a Toronto team that didn't really finish strongly. Your thoughts on the Yankees and how far they can go this postseason?
the weird thing about the AL playoffs is that the team that had the bye might be the least two intimidating teams if you just kind of like glance at them, because Seattle and Toronto, I know they've been good all year, but they don't scare me like you feel like New York or Cleveland, just the way they played last month of the year, Detroit, could. So I think there's a good opportunity for the Yanks. And I will direct everyone for everyone who has a subscription to The Athletic, Ian O'Connor wrote a really good article about Aaron Boone after Game 2 and how this team still plays for him. He talked about how so Jazz Chisholm gets benched Game 1. He does the back-to-the-media press conference after that game. I mean, it was kind of Shedder Sanders light in terms of stupidity. But then Jazz has a great Game 2 and comes out and kind of admits that, that he wasn't really happy getting benched in Game 1, but then says, look, I'm going to play for my manager. We don't always get along, but I got that guy's back. And, the article goes on to point out how, Aaron Boone doesn't mind taking the heat. He says, my job is not to save face. My job is to coach this team. So, no matter what Yankee fans have to say about him, and it's fair to say that he is not what they have wanted or needed over the last 6-7 years in terms of World Series winning, that guy still has the respect of the locker room. And after 7-8 years, that is something that should not be taken lightly. So, shot as anybody. There's no one in this AL playoff that I'm going to look at and say, well, the Yanks got to play way above their heads to beat this team. They just got to play, better in 3 out of 5 and then 4 out of 7, and they can easily go to the World Series.
Yeah, we had our betting expert on, PJ Glasser, earlier this week, Thad, and he said that the winner of the Sox-Yankees series would represent the AL in the World Series. And when he said it, it was a little bit staggering.
Like how? Wait a second.
Right, because he said it on Wednesday, and the Sox were up 1-0. And I had always believed, even when the Yanks were down, that they were going to win that series. And now that they are through that series and I look at what's ahead, I'm like, yeah, the Yankees could absolutely take advantage in the American League and represent the American League in the World Series.
Don't discount the bump the Yankees get from winning that series against that team, because I'm sure they walked in that series knowing that if you lose to Boston, even after the season you've had, that's something this team is going to just have to own and eat all season long. To get past that, the relief and I think the freedom the Yankees will play with, at least for a little while here in the playoffs, I think it could be a real big help.
Thad, what does your staff have tonight here? What can we go check out here at News 8?
So on News 8 at 6, Thad's 3 things, my weekly preview of the Bills game. That'll also be on RochesterFirst.com. And then Monday morning early, since we got to play another night game, on the Rochester First streaming app, we'll have our game day recap of the Bills and Patriots, plus all stuff all weekend long. Thad Brown 7 on X and Instagram.
Now, Thad, I'm not trying to cause or create any friction or a beef. I was on the break room this morning, and when I was promoting that you were going to be joining us this afternoon, Duffy had to chime in and say, make sure you ask Thad about his enormous calves. And I said, Pat, I kind of think Thad's calves are average at best. Get a grip. Can you comment on your calves just for the sake of Duffy and the break room audience?
I've always found it better to just let everybody else comment on the Cavs. People have always had plenty to say. I mean, it goes back to one year the Wilson football team. Whenever they went to games where I was at, high school-wise, they called Mr. Cavs. So I don't believe I need to add any further comment to that. The Cavs kind of speak for themselves.
Are you doing squats in the parking lot with the Volkswagen? What are you doing? Are you doing toe raises with the Volkswagen? What's your secret? We all need to know. We aspire to have muscular calves like the great Thad Brown.
I mean, a lot of it's just natural greatness, I think. But beyond that, I don't like to divulge all the workout secrets. Some things need to be left unsaid and just appreciated from afar.
Fair enough.
Thad, thank you for the time. We'll see you Sunday night. Appreciate it, bud.
Sounds good, guys. Had a good time. Thanks.
There's Thad Brown, News 8 Sports. Stopping by.
Why is Duffy checking out his calves? I'm not in tune with this.
I don't know. You know how Duffy is. I mean, the first thing he'll do is he'll pick apart what you're wearing, and he'll have a comment on that. And then if it's not something you're wearing, it's how you look. It's how you present.
There was one reporter we both know. I'm not going to mention who it is, but Duffy's like, ha, 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 look how fat this guy got. Ha, ha, ha. Danger, I think that's the world of the comic. And Duffy is not a comic anymore.
Yeah, kind of
but
is.
But it came up in that, like Caddy's not the right word.
No,
They're
but
all comparing themselves to one another.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that guy. He looks like Canada. Why? Why does he look like Canada? Because he's big north of the border. Hi-oh. Yeah. He just made that comment about that. I'm like, well, that's our guest today. I think those are average calves. I don't think that they're, larger than normal. Get a grip, man. Did you see what Ryan did this morning?
I did.
Gino, I don't know how I'm here. That was either a low point or a high point for my career. I really don't know.
No, it's pretty clear that's a low point. You're coming in with a guy dressed as a lobster. Here, let's talk about the Bills and Patriots. Here's Ryan the Lobster.
This is my career. This is what I've done with my life, my job, my quote-unquote work.
Where do you even get a blow-up lobster outfit?
I asked him. I said, dude, come on. He's like, yeah, I ordered it off of Amazon. I'm like, good for you, man. And now your Halloween costume is taken care of. If your daughter wants to be the Little Mermaid goes trick-or-treating with giant lobster. Fantastic.
And then the pictures that Tommy is posing with said lobsters. Pretty disturbing,
yeah,
actually. Pretty disturbing.
Again, not sure if it was a career highlight this morning. Maybe a low point. Maybe getting upstaged by a guy in an inflatable lobster costume is not the greatest thing ever. But it was funny. We had some laughs.
So there's some unique cities on the Bills' schedule, meaning they don't face them every year. You've got Atlanta. You've got Carolina. You've there's some other Philadelphia later on.
Sure.
Where does it go from here? Right?
Yeah, Philly, I don't know. I mean, if you want to go off of what Trista Crick would say about Philly sports fan, maybe he comes in wearing some bare feet and flip-flops or something, dirty feet, sweat. Yeah. Atlanta's a tough one. And we get through this week. That's what's on deck. And I don't know, man. I don't know what you're doing for Atlanta. What are you doing for Atlanta?
Scarlett from Gone with the Wind, right?
Oh.
That would be over the top.
I just don't know if the commitment to the bit is excellent. It's unprecedented. I have not seen anyone commit to a bit like this ever. But I don't know what you're doing for Atlanta. I don't know what you're doing for Carolina. Kansas City, for that matter. You coming in as a barbecue guy? I think he did barbecue.
You think you could come in as Andy Reid, right?
Oh.
Wear
the lobster costume again. Repurpose the lobster costume. Just say you're Andy Reid. Nobody will know the difference. Appreciate that coming in. We'll talk to Damon Amendola, the Bill Maddock podcast, and we'll talk more Bills, Patriots in the 4 o'clock hour. We've got time for your calls at 866-4FAN. 585-866-4326. A couple of other notes from around the NFL. And we'll recap last night's action as well, all on the way next on The Fan Rochester.
Western New York's electric leader. This is The Fan Rochester.
The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
WOCAM, WBEE HD2 Rochester, and streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
2 players ruled out for the Bills for the Sunday night game against New England: linebacker Dorian Williams and rookie corner Dorian Strong. Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, Spencer Brown, and TJ Sanders are all listed as questionable. Deion Dawkins knows the AFC East games are important.
Handle your divisional games, you'll probably have a great shot of making it into the playoffs. McDermott has preached that, taught that, embedded that into our heads. From the first day of practice, from the first day of OTAs, from the first team meeting, it's we won't lose at home mindset and handle our division.
Damon Amendolara, the Bill Maddock podcast. We'll talk some Buffalo Bills coming up later this hour here in the Sports Bar. Yankees and Jays in Toronto. That's one of 4 games tomorrow in the baseball playoffs. Nothing tonight. Sabres play their final preseason game tonight in Pittsburgh. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
We're back. Welcoming you back into the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950. Watching along on our YouTube stream and on Twitch at The Fan Rochester. Like and subscribe while you're there. And we're sounding our best in the free-to-download Odyssey app, iHeartRadio, tune in as well. Getting ready for Bills and Patriots on Sunday night. We'll be joined later this hour by DA, Damon Amendolara, host of the Bill Maddock podcast. Coming up here in about 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, he was in town last weekend, so we'll just get how he had fun, I would assume, here, and we'll get his thoughts here coming up on Sunday night. And we have time for your calls this segment. Our phone number is always open to you at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Got something to add? Maybe you've got a hot take. Maybe you think I'm off my rocker for picking the Patriots in this game. My job isn't to wave pom-poms and say, go Bills, go. I mean, certainly we want the team to do well. We live in the area. It's fun for the show. You're not going to go 17-0.
I just have the feeling, the same feeling you have, I have. And I might have influenced you a little bit with this feeling because I just think we watch this team and we're like, yeah, this doesn't look championship caliber. It just doesn't look like they're completely buttoned up, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And New England comes in as a divisional opponent and a new coach, and they've got some momentum, and they've got a young quarterback who's played very well so far this year, and you think feels like a loss. I get it, but I can't go against my bold prediction from earlier this season. And I know you thought I was joking when I said it. When the schedule came out, I'm like, they're not going to lose a game at home in the final year at Highmark Stadium.
Would you, if this game was in Foxborough as opposed to Buffalo here in Week 5?
I would have a tougher time picking the Bills.
Right. So
I am taking the Bills to win, not cover, 28-21. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be something where the Bills get up big and the Patriots backdoor cover. I think it's going to be tightly contested.
Now I'm going to give you something. I didn't run this by you, okay? But this is going to blow your mind. Ready? Think back to when the Bills, this was the first snowstorm. It's in November, and they have to go to Detroit to play the Browns.
Sure.
So, and then the following week, the timeline here is they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. And on that Thanksgiving Day, that's when Diggs gets up on the sideline and gets in McDermott's ear. And as it turns out, Allen and Diggs make this great play, set themselves up in the field goal range. The Bills get out of Detroit with the win. Why am I bringing up the sequence? That day that the Bills had to play the Browns, that was the last time the New England Patriots won back-to-back games in this league.
Wow.
You have to go back to 2022.
Wow.
That's how bad this franchise has been. That danger is what they're trying to do for the first time, again, since before Von Miller even got hurt.
That's staggering. Yeah, that That feels like forever ago.
It was forever ago.
That feels like forever ago. And this is the first opportunity, or not the first opportunity, but they haven't been able to score back-to-back wins. And they're coming off a big win against Carolina.
Yeah, if we play who's on your schedule,
That's right.
I guess. So.
That's right. Well, we'll see if McDermott and his defense can confuse Drake May. I mean, it didn't feel like it confused Spencer Rattler. He was able to convert, and he was, he didn't have to throw the ball around. You were able to run the ball with some efficiency last week against the Bills. And Drake May, we know, is mobile. He can get out there. He can run. Should be interesting. I think it's going to be close, but I do think the Bills get the win when it's all said and done, and they continue the good vibes at Highmark Stadium.
I'd love nothing more than to come back Monday and we're all a little groggy still in the afternoon, but we're still listening to a little Bruno.
Oh, yeah.
All his finest hits here.
Yeah, a little Bruno Martino on a Victory Monday. That will feel nice.
If I get up Sunday morning and if Joe Capogreco inadvertently, he probably has no idea. I didn't listen to the show.
You don't think so? Not a big sports guy?
I'm thinking if he's playing Bruno.
We need to be talking more Series A Italian soccer, sharing scores from Italy to get Joe to listen.
The latest soccer scores from Italy.
Yeah. That'll be a lot of fun. And I said it last hour. If you didn't have tickets to the game, like this would be the game to just I'm just going to go and be a part of the scene. I'm just going to tailgate and hang out, party, hang out with friends. And the game we can watch from the tailgate, or we can go back home and watch the game. I wouldn't be angry at that move either.
Yeah, and I think the lesson from week one was, okay, the Bills are losing. There's 10 minutes to go whenever you decided to go out there. You didn't save yourself any time. You and everybody else stuck in traffic. Like we all celebrate, this stadium, the location. It's a terrible location for a stadium. The infrastructure's not there. So legitimately, you're better off just staying there till the end and just making it a long night. And hopefully your boss will be nice if you got to get in a little later on Monday morning.
Now, a bit of news from New England. Milton Williams, their defensive tackle free agent acquisition here from the offseason out of Philadelphia, was questionable. Now, we're listed as questionable for Sunday night. That guy is somebody that I would think would be an issue for the Bills. Just big, physical guy in the middle of that defensive line. Not that the Bills' offensive line couldn't handle that, but the difference maker. I felt like that guy could be a difference maker when they acquired him, and certainly could make life a little bit more challenging in the middle of the field for Josh Allen, for James Cook. We'll see if he's going on Sunday night. Now is listed as questionable.
It's been it sounds crazy that the Bills in all these wins, they put up 30 points first 4 weeks, and I'm using the word conservative, right? They're getting it done. Who cares how the style is? I think you're going to need a different style here. We talked to Thad Brown, and it's like, wow, James Cook has been exquisite. James Cook, he compared him to LaShawn McCoy. I think he's on track to maybe have a better season than LaShawn. Heck, it'd be 9 straight games with a touchdown. How many, Danger?
9 times.
That is on the table. And I'm saying that's probably not the best course of action. I would test all the underneath stuff. If Mike Bravel wants to play the 2 safeties up high and the Bills have 2 slot guys, one being Coleman, the other certainly being Shakir, and then you have Kincaid, I would think there's going to be some opportunities underneath. So I would definitely use the pass to set up the run in this game.
A couple of other notes from around the NFL leading into Week 5 here. Lamar Jackson did not practice. Cooper Rush is in line to start against the Texans, which if you were concerned about the Ravens after Week 1, with each passing day, I think you're less and less concerned. Kyle Hamilton was also injured through the course of the week. I don't know how much he's practiced or his availability for Sunday, but they are reeling, the worst defense in the league right now, and Lamar Jackson not playing in favor of Cooper Rush doesn't help their chances of getting out of the hole that they've created for themselves.
Yeah, that would move them to 1-4. 1-4, and say if the Browns beat the Vikings, and don't laugh, I think
Could
that was
happen.
a coin flip overseas. Who knows? The Ravens, we could get back Monday. They could be by their lonesome in last place behind a rookie quarterback in Cleveland and whatever Cincinnati continues to trot out. Cincinnati with 2 W's still on the board. The Bengals hosting the Lions. That is your survivor pick. I'm going to say this, Danger. If I don't advance, I believe I will with the pick of Arizona, and you get Detroit, it's your bet then.
I have to carry the baton.
You do.
Okay.
I'm a little hurt that you didn't follow my lead, but that's also a solid pick, Detroit going over Cincinnati.
You brought up the Vikings and the Browns. They'll be playing early on Sunday morning from London. Carson Wentz is going to get another start. The Ginger General will be behind center for the Vikings as J.J. McCarthy is officially out. And Dylan Gabriel will get his first start for the Cleveland Browns. A quarterback, Myles Garrett, who missed practice on Wednesday, will be good to go and will play for the Browns defense on Sunday.
What's the better storyline, Danger? Is it Dylan Gabriel, hey, wow, that's great. You led your team to a win. And mind you, every Browns fan is nodding their head, and the NFL is probably nodding their head. We don't root for bad things, but if it goes south, and then you're going to have the cutaways to the quarterback who's carrying a clipboard or wearing a headset or Mr. Pantomime.
Shador?
What's the better story here? What would you be rooting for? Do you want Gabriel to succeed, or do we want more noise around Shador? Are we just rooting for chaos?
I'm actually looking at the Vikings a little bit closer, and specifically, I want Carson Wentz to look like MVP Carson Wentz. I'm talking, you know who I'm talking about. A 6'5", 235-pound quarterback out of North Dakota State with the blue-collar work ethic and Midwestern values. Right at home, playing for the Minnesota Vikings, the team he grew up rooting for. Yeah, that guy. Because if he does well against the Browns, why rush him back after the bye week? Although you would imagine J.J. McCarthy will be up to the challenge. But when you come out of the bye, Eagles, give me a Carson Wentz revenge game against the Eagles. Don't put the kid out there against the Eagles. Give me a Carson Wentz revenge game.
Ooh, is that in Philadelphia or is it in Minnesota?
It's in Minnesota. Give me a Carson Wentz revenge game.
I don't know what you're seeing with Carson Wentz.
I'm not seeing anything.
He's not good. You're wishing for something that's not
there. You know
there.
I'm doing this half tongue-in-cheek, right? But there is a part of me that wants to see him succeed just because I think it's, talk about commitment to the bit. I want my guy to do well with the team that he grew up rooting for there in Minnesota. But, yeah, the Eagles traveling to Minnesota on the 19th. And if Wentz is still starting for the Vikings, nice little narrative there. Nice little revenge game for Carson Wentz.
Lamar Jackson ruled out, Jefferson.
There you go.
There you go.
Cooper Rush getting the start. Good. Great news if you're a Ravens fan. If you're a Ravens fan, you're like, what? How? When? What? How?
What?
Like everything was going so well.
Watch. I always thought Cooper Rush did well in those little spot starts with Dallas. Watch him do okay.
Yeah. Weirder things have happened in the NFL for sure. So there you go. Just some notes from around the NFL. Man, we believe that Major League Baseball missed an opportunity because for the last 3 days and nights, we've been consuming the Wild Card Series, and they've been great. High drama. Well, with the exception of the Dodgers, flicking the Reds off like a bug.
Mm-hmm.
No games tonight. It's Friday night. I no disrespect to Section 5 football. Best of luck to all the teams and their families. No disrespect to the WNBA finals, which get underway tonight. But why not a baseball game tonight? Why not? I don't know that there's a solution or that they could have done things that would have made everybody happy, but it feels like a missed opportunity.
Well, you got to take in consideration TBS has other obligations at 7 o'clock tonight, Danger. And 7:30, they have the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And then it's Avengers Age of Ultron, the movie at 8 o'clock.
I was hoping I could watch that for the 18th time, so I'm glad that they're rerunning that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that you have to take in consideration that TBS can't preempt that.
I get it. Those are ratings monsters, and far be it from us to say that a baseball game would have done better than Big Bang Theory.
Again, tongue-in-cheek. I think most people will get that, but
Big Bang Theory. Never watched an episode. Not one.
Couldn't tell you anything.
Not one. How I Met Your Mother. Not one.
I was going to say, like, if you said which cast is which, How You Met Your Mother, Big Bang Theory.
Last sitcom you devoted time to, Gene Battaglia. Go.
On network TV?
Correct.
All right, there was Seinfeld in the 90s. Look, I'll probably come up with it at some point.
Raymond? For me, it's Raymond. Everybody Loves Raymond, I think, is the last sitcom that I actually...
Would you consider Desperate Housewives a sitcom?
No. That's a series. That's drama. That's
drama.
like me devoting time to Lost when it was on. When Lost was on every week, I'd watch every week. And the world has changed, obviously. But the sitcom is, much like we were talking about yesterday with the soap opera, it seems like the sitcom is a bit of a dying breed. Does it not? And yet here we are, How I Met Your Mother on TBS tonight. Well, we don't have a baseball game. That's okay. All right, fine. If we had Phillies Dodgers tonight, I don't know that anybody would be complaining.
Actually, Two Broke Girls.
Two Broke Girls. The two waitresses, right?
Yeah, the two waitresses that...
I saw maybe an episode or two of that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a weekly watch for me. Didn't get into, what was it, 2.5 Men with Charlie Sheen. Never really floated my boat.
I'm only bringing this because I saw a promo like, oh my gosh, they're still wheeling out Tim Allen. It's Tim Allen as the father living with one of the two broke girls. I'm like, oh boy.
Put him in the Hall of Fame. The guy is just, he's a sitcom warrior.
No, the greatest sitcom. Ted Danson's the king.
Danson's still at it.
Yeah.
Danson is still at it, man. Cheers was a long, long time ago, speaking of New England. Cheers was a long time ago, yet Danson is still at it.
Man on the Inside, pretty good. Add it to your list.
There is no list.
Humor me. I'll watch it.
So we've got action tomorrow as the divisional series get underway in the American League and National League. And we have our series set with the Yankees and the Blue Jays, the Cubs and the Brewers, the Phillies, Dodgers, and the Tigers heading out to Seattle.
So this is the equivalent of an NFL team firing the coordinators and everybody, but keeping...
That's okay.
No, thank you. All right, thank you.
That's all right,
very
Gino.
much, Siri.
Who amongst us hasn't?
The Mets today letting go hitting coach Jeremy Hafner, letting go of all the hitting coaches, their third base coach, also their pitching coach, and their bench coach, John Gibbons. Everybody gone except the manager. So Carlos Mendoza stays, but he's been neutered here. He's going to have to hire a completely new staff.
Were these guys that he hired in the first place? Were these guys that he handpicked, or were these holdovers from the previous regime?
That's a good question. I misspoke. Hafner's the pitching coach, and I think these were his guys there. He's been there for years.
You get a second chance to hire your staff. That's not bad. Not bad. He's a pretty good talker. Talked his way out of a jam. Well done. I don't know. If you're a Mets fan, yes, be down, Gino, but don't worry. I think the future is still going to be okay for the New York Mets.
Because you have an owner that's willing to spend. That's
big.
It's wrong. It really is. Like, that's wrong. That's a big problem. Oh, hey, we're the Mets. We're not the Pirates. Is that what we're saying? We're not the Orioles. Yay! Yay! They're the number one market in the country.
I was waiting for a rant. We got one. Took a week, but we got one.
Because you and Catalani, you killed me.
I didn't kill you.
You killed me.
I did not. I've been supportive. I've been your friend this week, Gino. I've been your friend. I just said. What did I just say?
Mosquitoes.
What did I just say?
What I saw last night on my deck, I saw a mosquito.
I just said you have reason for optimism, Gino. I'm being supportive of you and your fan base. I'm being supportive of Mets fans.
You're teeing me up so that way when we get to April, Danger, this pitching staff is a lot better. I'm really excited about the Mets. I know
we're
I'm
all going to be
self-aware enough.
Yeah, well, that's you and every Mets fan. And a lot of baseball fans feel that way. There are Pirate fans out there that are probably going to be like, this is the year. We're going to finally break. No, I'm kidding. There's no Pirate fans out there.
There's no Pirate fan.
I'm sorry. That. I'm sorry. I misspoke. But you have reason to be optimistic. You have Juan Soto. Got Juan Soto. Lindor. I'm sorry. Yes,
Lindor and Soto and Alonso opting out.
Yeah, bye-bye. If he goes to the Yankees.
He shouldn't go. Where would he go? You should have Rice as your first baseman.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
No, no question.
No, Alonso feels like an angel. That feels like, okay, he's willing to pay you.
Go park him out there.
Yeah, go be with Mike Trout. Adios.
Mike Trout, not a winner, by the way.
No. It took me a while to
hill.
come around on that take.
I'll die on that hill. Mike Trout, not a winner. Great baseball player, no question. Not a winner.
When he goes into the Hall of Fame someday, will you go down there, hold up a big sign, "You're not a winner"? like all these fans. Would you get escorted out? If
Yeah, probably. By Manfred himself. You have presented us with an array of signs about Mike Trout, and we would like to see you leave the premises immediately. Heyman, speaking of baseball writer, Heyman dunked on your Mets. You should be mad at John Heyman. Did you see what he put out there?
I try not to read Heyman after what he did to our guy Keith.
It was terrible.
What did he dunk on?
He basically said, "Don't worry, Mets. It's not like you would have beaten the Dodgers either."
I thought about that. Like, I would have been a little more sleep deprived, I suppose, and would have just been angry that, okay, the Dodgers would have flicked the Mets away like they flicked the Reds away.
Yeah, I think that's, all he's saying is that if you're a Mets fan and you're upset that you didn't make the postseason, don't be upset, because the Dodgers would have abused you the way they did the Reds, and it would have been over quick. And that was Heyman's take, at least. I don't know. I'm based on what we saw from the Mets last year when they got into the postseason. I'd say they were pretty scrappy. I don't know that I would be that quick to dismiss them if they would have gotten in, but of course that's neither here nor there.
You lost 2 or 3 to the Red Wings.
That's you don't deserve to be in the postseason.
2 or 3 to the Marlins.
Yeah, you don't deserve to be in the postseason. We get to DEA next. Damon Amandalora, the Bill Maddock podcast. We'll talk a little bit about his ventures in Orchard Park from last week. And look ahead to Sunday night's game against the Patriots with the host of the Bill Maddock podcast, Damon Amandalora, next on The Fan.
Sports Update.
Linebacker Dorian Williams, corner Dorian Strong have both been ruled out for the Patriot game Sunday night. Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, Spencer Brown, and TJ Sanders are all questionable. Head coach Sean McDermott on the opposing quarterback, Drake May.
Very impressive young player. Can do everything that the quarterback position calls for. He can throw it. He can run it. He scrambles with it. It's clear that I would imagine they feel, excited about the future for him and then for their organization because of his ability.
Damon Amendolara from the Bill Maddock podcast will be joining us next here in the Sports Bar. Friday night, there are no baseball games tonight for tomorrow, including the Yankees and Jays up in Toronto. Final preseason game tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. They are in Pittsburgh. RIT hockey with an exhibition tomorrow at the Policini. Team Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
The beer's cold and the wings are hot. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
I mean, hard-nosed football, well-coached guys with guys that's very capable up front and in the secondary. So we got to play a complete game, all three phases to come out with a win.
Bills wide receiver Keon Coleman. Looking ahead to Sunday night, the New England Patriots are in town for prime time. And the rivalry uniforms make their debut for the Buffalo Bills as well. Going to be looking sharp in the white-on-white. D.A., host of the Bill Maddock podcast. We'll let you tell everybody about that here in a second, DA, but we know you were in Orchard Park. At least you had plans to be in Orchard Park last week for the Saints game. Paint a picture. What was it like? Did you have some fun?
Oh, man, we had the best time. Tailgate is always amazing. As we always know, Bills fans know how to get after it, and it was the rare early season 1 o'clock kickoff, and a rare 1 o'clock kickoff for the entire season. So everybody was out there having a good time, getting out there early, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. It was already rocking. And I think everybody just kind of had a comfortable vibe over the course of the morning because it was the Saints. Plenty of Saints fans made the trip. They love to party as well. Says something about Buffalo that Saints fans, coming from the greatest party city we have in the NFL, wanted to travel to Buffalo. And then once we were in the stadium, perfect skies, beautiful weather, in the mid-70s, and the game was a little too close for comfort. Now, of course, the Bills ended up pulling out to win. I mean, that's probably a C-plus effort from the Bills overall. Didn't really stop the run very well, but ultimately we're a much better team. So there was plenty of positive vibes, although afterwards being like, that was probably a little bit too tight.
Yeah, we look at this through the lens. I mean, people would say it's a win, doesn't matter. Well, we're judging this. Is this good enough to win a championship? Damon, clearly that's a no. So from what you saw, do we chalk this up to, hey, it's September, let's see how this team is focused later on, or are there some real problems on this team, specifically the defense, that they've got to figure out here at some point?
It's really hard to know. I mean, let's face it, when it comes to the Chiefs, which is the big bad villain, which is Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers and every type of slasher film villain that's ever been out there, no matter what this regular season looks like, when the Chiefs walk into a stadium against you, whether it's Arrowhead or Highmark, no Bills fan is going to feel comfortable. It doesn't matter what the records are. It doesn't matter what the regular season looked like. We just know a matchup against the Chiefs is always going to be nerve-wracking. Other than that, in the AFC, the thing that will be nerve-wracking is a great quarterback. At the moment, there's not many of them in the AFC that are healthy. I mean, Lamar Jackson isn't healthy. Obviously, Joe Burrow's out for 3 months. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, there's just not a lot. Maybe it's Justin Herbert out there, but I would imagine many Bills fans feel like, okay, if you give me the Chargers, I think I would sign up for that in the AFC Championship game. So it's really tough to say because they have not played a great quarterback yet aside from Lamar, and Lamar and Derrick Henry chewed him up. So let's see. Again, this is not another great quarterback. They're going to be few and far between this regular season. I don't think they can probably match up against the best QBs without making everybody sweat, but it really depends on when we actually see them do that in the regular season and get kind of a better sense of whether that's a real fear or not.
DA, we won't stand here for you to talk ill of Drake May when he's put up the numbers that he's put up through 4 weeks. I mean, this is the guy that everybody's nervous about for the Buffalo Bills. If the Patriots are going to upset the Buffalo Bills, it's going to be because of Drake May.
Well, yes, agreed. I don't think that Drake May is a top 10 quarterback in this league at this moment. And even though the stats might suggest that he's creeping closer to that and a really good young QB, he needs to be more consistent, fewer turnovers from that entire offense, and he's got to show this a little bit more. Now, doesn't mean that the Bills can't have problems this weekend because the secondary has had injuries and the defense as a whole has had troubles, being consistent, making consistent, strong plays and putting their opponents in long situations. But they have found a way to make those kind of flip the field type of plays, which happened late in the game against Baltimore, happened late in the game against Miami, happened deep in their own end against New Orleans. But those are just not significant matchups the last couple of weeks. We have to see them do it against a team that really would be one of the best in the AFC, and I don't think the Patriots are.
Yeah, we're talking to DA. The Bill Maddock podcast will tell you more info about that. Certainly something you want to check out right after the Bills game against the Patriots on Sunday night. DA, I want to go back to training camp of all things, where defensive coordinator Bobby Babich and asking the question, at this point he was healthy during camp, about Cole Bishop, and I thought he gave a very interesting answer about the struggles he had, talking about, and he went off the road on this one, talking about today's athlete, how there are challenges mentally, which he's implying that, all right, yeah, this was a learning curve, and and we talked to Cole afterwards, said he was fine. What you saw in that play, it was magnificent how he diagnosed that, ran a beeline right across, picking that off. I mean, where we're kind of down on the Bills' defense, at least there's a building block with Cole Bishop. I don't know if we can say the same thing, though, however, for the guys right next to. A lot of people down on Taylor Rapp. Your thoughts on the state of the safety position here as the Bills taking on the Patriots?
I think it's a totally understandable, reasonable concern for Bills fans to have. Cole Bishop showed on that play the type of athleticism that you die for at that position. And that's actually kind of where we were situated with our tickets, kind of in that corner of the end zone. So the play came at us, and it was, wow, look at that anticipation, look at that athleticism, look at him hauling in that interception. Incredible play. But I do think every Bills fan would agree we don't see that regularly enough. Now, knowing that it's there, okay, that's a really good thing, but it's got to show up day after day, play after play. And in the AFC, if they are going to get through this conference, there's going to have to be strong safety play in the playoffs. You're either going to come up to have to stop the run, could either have to be over the top for a big interception, deflect a big pass. Safety play is going to be absolutely huge. And I don't know how to understandably grade where we are at with this secondary when you have faced quarterbacks like Justin Fields, like Spencer Rattler, like Tua. It just is hard to say. And, none of those guys are going to be in the playoffs. None of those guys are going to be who you measure yourself against. This will be closer to that. So kind of like what you're talking about with whether Drake May is a reasonable challenge, he is, and they better look good, because if they don't look good and the safety play is ragged again, then that's a real concern, because Drake May's not going to be the caliber of quarterback you need to get through. It's going to be higher than that once you get to January.
DA, we learned this week that James Cook was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. His stats are off the charts. He looks great, and looks like Brandon Beane is the smartest GM in the NFL for extending him the way that he did and getting a little bit of value out of his running back. I guess the question we have is, knowing Cook, knowing his build, is this workload sustainable over the course of 17 games for James Cook?
I think at his age, yes. If we were 3 years down the road, I would be a little bit more worried. But he's the type of running back that is so special in that his versatility comes not only running the football, but also catching passes out of the backfield. And the rare combination of shiftiness with ability to break tackles. He's not the biggest guy, but boy, he has an ability to just rip through arm tackles. And he's shown that every single week. And it always feels like if the offense is getting bogged down and they need a big play, of course, Josh is always the guy you look to first. But it's James Cook next of, okay, what can James do here to kind of get the offense rolling and to get the momentum going and to move the sticks? And I'm kind of constantly in awe of the fact that He's really good laterally. He's really good north-south. He really is able to break through arm tackles. He's got some power. He's got an next gear with speed. He probably is a little underrated in this league because he's always going to be overshadowed by the quarterback position. But you really can't say enough about James Cook. He's not billed as one of the superstar running backs in the NFL. But as you said, production off the charts and does a little bit of everything. Okay, he's not going to have the Derrick Henry size and power, but he is right there, I would say, with the top 5 to 6 running backs in all of the NFL. There's really no weakness in his game, which says a lot.
Here's a fun fact. So the last time the Bills lost at home, it was that in the regular season. It was that Monday night game against the Broncos, the 12 men on the field. The last time they lost on a Sunday at home, Josh Allen in overtime, I'm going to get the ball to Diggs, makes the wrong read, and then bam, the Vikings win in just a nutty game. Only bring that up because, well, it was like right when we're realizing this is going to end here with Stephon Diggs here in Buffalo. Here we get Diggs coming back here, and we're all trying to wonder, DA, what is this atmosphere going to be like? A player that brought so much to the organization, but yet the ending was just so weird.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have not a lot of complimentary things to say about Stephon Diggs. I just have to be honest. I find Diggs to be very difficult to root for. I find him very difficult to stomach. I have found him to be, throughout his career, not just the Bills era, to be so high maintenance for the type of production that you actually get out of him. He's the type of wide receiver that carries himself like he's a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, but he's nowhere close to that. And he's somebody else's problem now. I consistently thought that in Buffalo he was a net negative because of the emotional tax that comes with making him happy and making sure that he's not going to blow up on the sideline. And I just think the fact that Stephon has bounced around so much at this point in his career says a lot about how teams can just kind of get exhausted. And remember, he went to Houston last year, and they felt as though he was the perfect remedy for a bunch of young wide receivers, or that he was going to kind of help them along the way. And in short order, they said, you know what, we're pretty good here. And the only reason that he latched on in New England, in my estimation, is that the cupboard was so bare at wide receiver. They have drafted so poorly, although Kendrick Bourne last night actually looked like they drafted well, and they just let him go. But, they don't have anything at wide receivers. They were desperate. And then he has the boat situation in the offseason, and I just have consistently been a critic of his. So it's going to be obviously interesting to see him come back to Buffalo. But at the same time, I just think the Bills are just such a better locker room and a better vibe without him.
Yeah, I respect everything you're just saying, and I think a lot of people share your sentiment on Diggs. Can I at least get an admission that Josh Allen isn't the Josh Allen that we have today without Diggs' contribution to Josh Allen's career?
Okay, so this is interesting. You think if Diggs isn't part of the Bills for that time, you think Josh Allen's a lesser QB today?
I do.
Okay, so what do you think he helped Josh understand or learn?
I think he just helped give him confidence, knowing that if you have a guy, you see him, you get it to him. Diggs was always about self-preservation. He was never a yak guy. He's, clearly he's a me-first guy, right? We know that about him and his personality. But I just think the ability to have a guy with that much separation, giving Josh the confidence to throw it downfield and to hit those guys with that separation.
All right, that's a fair. I think that's fair. I see. The thing is, I don't know if it took Stephon Diggs or just somebody to be in that role for Josh to get there. And maybe you're right. Maybe hindsight is always 20/20, and maybe today we have a bias towards recency, and so it just feels like Josh was always inevitably going to become this guy. It's just hard, though, for me to reconcile with the fact that it feels like Josh Allen has exactly the type of mentality and temperament you want for a quarterback, for a leader, for a locker room guy.
Yeah.
And Stephon Diggs is the exact opposite. And so the idea that the opposite could have helped forge Josh into this feels a little disconnected, but I see what you're saying. If on the football field it took a guy to be wide receiver 1, where Josh needed to kind of like, okay, flex. I know I can get it to this guy, and when that happens, good things happen. I guess I could buy that. It's just, gosh, Stephon Diggs, it is so much work all the time with him, you know? It's so exhausting with Stephon Diggs. It's unbelievable.
Damon, I'm one who would not boo Diggs. I wouldn't cheer him, certainly. But I would boo Doug Marrone. Doug Marrone coming back. Doug Marrone, 9-7. Think about that. He opted out without another job. He really thought the Jets were going to be, yep, here, come on in. So that guy, I'm still not over that, Damon.
Look, you're talking to a Syracuse grad. You're talking to a guy that watched Syracuse football get flame bombed by Greg Robinson. For Doug Marrone to come back and put the pieces back together, and I'm like, oh my God, I got my football program back. This is great. And then of course he leaves, and then you hear the stories about how he kind of always had one foot out the door, even though he said this is his dream job. He always wanted to be at Syracuse. He wanted to bring it back from the dead. And then what he did in Buffalo. And the idea that behind the scenes he was saying, call me Saint Doug because the miracles that I have pulled, and then to see him completely fall on his face and become kind of an afterthought assistant coach that, you know, nobody ever discusses anymore, feels like the biggest humbling experience that he deserved all along. I mean, how at multiple spots did you think you were so much better than you were? Yeah, I don't blame any Bills fans for feeling the way that they do, because I feel a certain level of, stick it to this guy, because, you know, he had such an ego for such little accomplishments along the way.
DA, before we get you to talk about the Bill Maddock podcast and everything you got going on this weekend around the NFL going into Week 5 here, Week 5 underway actually with last night's game and the Niners getting the win on LA, which actually felt like a home game for the Niners as it always does at SoFi Stadium. But talk a little bit about the job that Kyle Shanahan has done so far this year, knowing that your franchise quarterback hasn't been available, resurrecting the career of Mac Jones. Mac Jones looks like he's a franchise quarterback the way he's been playing under Shanahan and his system. A little bit about that game last night and how things are shaping up there in the West.
You have to realize that going into this game, it felt like the Niners had absolutely no chance to move the football. They were out Brock Purdy, George Kittle gone for a couple of weeks, Ricky Pearsall out, Jawan Jennings out. So your top three receivers and your quarterback are out. Had the Niners put up 7, 10, 12 points, you'd be like, yep, that sounds about right. And not only do they win the game, it's the biggest upset by point spread in the NFL so far to the season. But Mac Jones and the offense put up good numbers, put up points in the red zone, scored touchdowns, not field goals, and end up extending into overtime and still winning. It is a miraculous job what happened last night that the Niners pulled off. And I couldn't help but watch that and say, this is a referendum on why I don't believe in Brock Purdy being a great quarterback. Because we have seen Jimmy G, we've now seen Brock Purdy, we've now seen Mac Jones all produce. Remember that Sam Darnold needed to go there to get rehabilitated after Carolina. He comes out of San Francisco and suddenly becomes a star for a season in Minnesota. Everything that Shanahan touches from a QB standpoint seems to turn to gold, except for Trey Lance, which suggests that Trey Lance is a real bust if even Shanahan could not figure him out. But it's extraordinary. And it's kind of crazy that Shanahan doesn't have a Super Bowl yet. It's kind of crazy that we are latching on to the collapses of Shanny in multiple Super Bowls, because what he's doing on a week-to-week basis. Remember, the Purdy thing has been, well, Purdy's a product of his weapons. He's a product of the weapons around him. Well, last night, Mac Jones had none of those weapons besides Christian McCaffrey, and they still won the game, and Mac looked like a franchise quarterback when that almost never looked the case in New England. It was extraordinary to watch, and I said, this is just wild that Shanahan is able to pull this rabbit out of a hat against a really good Rams defense, by the way, and a Rams team that seemed to be one of the best in the NFC. And then last night, once again, they're looking up in the standings at San Francisco, even when they've lost half their roster to injury.
I am full in on Mac Jones blossoming on San Francisco for no other reason than maybe we overlooked or we just didn't comprehend what was going on in New England at that time, where you have Matt Patricia as an offensive coordinator, a head coach who knows where his head was at. DA, it would be another stain on, not that we need more here, but let's pile a little bit more on Bill Belichick if Mac Jones actually turns into something in this league.
1,000%. I love this storyline. I love the fact the Patriots fans had to watch last night Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne go crazy on national TV. I loved it. I love the idea that they blew the development of these young guys. And by the way, Kendrick Bourne, by all accounts, has been like an amazing energy guy in the Niners locker room, and everybody is raving about him and the fact that, he has such a great attitude and he's give them such a spark when they've needed it. I'm like, wow, when he was in New England, he was one of the biggest busts in the recent draft history. So, yeah, I love it. And it is true no matter what. I actually spoke to Gary Myers, who wrote a book, Brady versus Belichick, this anthology of the debate, and I put it on my YouTube channel last week. So it might be a good watch for some of your viewers. And we went over all of these things, the chapters between Brady and Belichick. And the fact is, that the end in New England seems to counteract the beginning in New England for Bill. And the beginning in New England was 3 Super Bowls, 4 years, strength of the defense, and nobody could ever question whether Bill was the most significant part of those championships. Brady became important, but those first 3 are really about Bill's incredible defense and what he did in 2001 with a backup quarterback. By the time we get to the second 10 years, it's all about Brady and the offense, and the last 3 years in New England are a debacle. And this is another way to pile on that debacle. And then, of course, Brady leaves and wins a ring without him, and that's kind of where everything has tilted. And so, yeah, it's a reminder that not only were things flickering at the end with Brady, but when Brady left, it was complete dysfunction, and you have to lay that at the feet of Bill Belichick.
Rough weekend for New England. The Sox lose last night to the Yankees. You got Mac Jones looking like a franchise quarterback, and we'll see what happens on Sunday night in Orchard Park. Damon Amendola is the host of the Bill Maddock podcast, and we know that this is a special project that you're working on, DA. Tell everybody about Bill Maddock and how we can check it out.
Yeah, and a little note about Sox fans. They had Cam Schlittler, a guy from Walpole, Massachusetts, who grew up as a Sox fan in his family, killing them last night as a Yankee on the mound, which is amazing. But Bill Maddock, is my post-game show after every game, and, I'm kind of trying to chronicle the final season at Highmark Stadium. So last week I was up there, I did the post-game show from just outside the stadium. I'm going live immediately after every Bills game, and you can check that out on YouTube and also on X and on Instagram Live. Complete breakdown, and also kind of trying to conjure up the mysticism of what it would take for this team to finally do it. And I will say, as you look at the plane of the AFC, it does feel like there are certain pathways that are opening up. The Ravens might drop to 1-4. The Texans obviously don't look very good. We saw the Chargers fall to the Giants last week of all teams. Yes, there's always the lurking Chiefs, but at the moment, boy, the Buffalo Bills feel like they've got really good mojo and energy behind them. They got to continue it against the Patriots, but I love kind of looking forward to breaking it down every single week immediately after the game.
Now, of course, you also have your morning show on the Mad Dog channel. What is your advice for any Bills fan that is not going to get a lot of sleep? You're not going to have a lot of sleep, Damon. You're working Sunday night, and then you got to be on the air at 6. How do you cope with, just going for a few hours there?
Try not to get too hammered during the game. That would be my advice. When it's a 1 o'clock or a 4 o'clock, you can probably sleep it off before that alarm clock goes off Monday morning. But on a Sunday night, you probably want to cut off the intoxication at an earlier level than that. And I know it's tough, but it's probably the right idea unless you can call out sick and you know your boss. I can't. So I do know my boss, but I can't call out sick on Monday. So I just got to keep it to a minimum on Sunday night.
Thanks for the wisdom, DA. Let's talk again next week.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.
You got it. There's Damon Amendola. He is the host of the Bill Maddock podcast. Check it out. He breaks down every Bills game and shares some of the stories behind the final year here at Highmark Stadium. Good stuff.
Wow. A lot we could go back to, and I appreciate the different viewpoint because what he's bringing, okay, and that's a guy that national media, like, we've taken kind of the nice approach with Diggs. He's like, Like,
no, I get it.
yeah.
I mean, there's a diva wide receiver tag that is attached to Stephon Diggs. He's
earned that.
He's absolutely earned that. There's nothing I can say to defend his behavior. I mean, he can be a distraction. He's Odell Beckham Jr. getting tangled up in the kicker's net, right? He's that guy pacing up and down and berating his teammates, and you saw it firsthand. A tantrum in the tunnel.
That was scary when you see someone that upset. Like, okay, where is this going here? Before he got to Buffalo, remember, he wouldn't show up at practice, and he forced his way out of Minnesota.
It was a problem in Minnesota, too. Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody was worried about that when he came here, and we all fell in love because
he's not like that at all.
He was a good citizen, and he was a good teammate, and everybody said great things about him, and everybody always said great things about him, but we knew that there was trouble in paradise. We saw it. We knew it firsthand. We heard it. We saw the dysfunction that existed in the relationship between the player and the team. You never heard it from the teammates because the teammates are teammates. They're not going to throw him under the bus. He's a competitor. We wish we had 52 guys like him on every team.
That was Brandon Beane, and he said that knowing I don't want to, it's value. Like Cole Bishop,
that's right.
That's what Steph Diggs became, right? You got a second-round pick, which that's kind of remarkable, right? For a receiver clearly on the downside, you got a second-round pick for Diggs.
Seems like a pretty good deal right now. Yeah. We'll get to more of that conversation, talk a little bit about DA's take on Diggs and how he'll be received Sunday night when the Bills host the Patriots. You'll hear the action on the Fan Rochester. Our pregame coverage starts at 4 o'clock. Happy hour next. Plenty of time for your calls as well at 866-4FAN, 866-4326.
9BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
2 players out for the Bills on Sunday night. Linebacker Dorian Williams and rookie corner Dorian Strong. Questionable for this game. Matt Oliver, Matt Milano, Spencer Brown, and TJ Sanders. Deion Dawkins knows a divisional game is important.
Handle your divisional games, you'll probably have a great shot of making it into the playoffs. McDermott has preached that, taught that, embedded that into our heads. From the first day of practice, from the first day of OTAs, from the first team meeting, it's we won't lose at home mindset and handle our division.
Chris Brown, Eric Wood, Sal Capaccio will have your call Sunday night. Our coverage will begin at 4 o'clock. No baseball tonight. 4 games tomorrow. 4 o'clock tomorrow for the Yankees and Blue Jays in Toronto. The Sabres play their final preseason game tonight in Pittsburgh. Syracuse football with a tough matchup tomorrow at SMU. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
It's happy hour in the sports bar. We got an unbelievable weekend on tap. Thanks for joining us at 95.7 FM, AM 950. Thanks for listening in the free-to-download Odyssey app, iHeartRadio, tune in, watching on our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester, listening on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. I'm Danger. Over there, that's Battaglia.
I mentioned to you how we have RIT hockey tomorrow. Here's another thing that's going to blow your mind. We have preseason NBA tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. Like, wait, that showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is that time of year.
It is that time of year. And, man, the vibes have been great all week. We've had great action through the course of Major League Baseball's Wild Card Series. Those came to a conclusion last night. The Yankees dispatching of the Red Sox, the Cubs advancing, Detroit advancing to their series in the divisional round against Seattle. That all gets underway tomorrow. Kind of think they missed an opportunity. Maybe some action on Friday night would have been nice. Would have been cool to see Phillies-Dodgers on a Friday night.
There's no reason you couldn't have had the Dodgers. The Dodgers wrapped everything up. The NBA will do this, Danger. Like, you'll see TBA, hey, for our TV partners, we're going to plug in a game here. There's no reason you couldn't have preempted, checks my notes. Is it How I Met Your Mother or the other one? Whatever the one is tonight on TBS, to put in Dodgers with Shohei Ohtani against Philadelphia. That should have been a standalone game. Rob Manfred thinks that, hey, on a Saturday, we're going to watch wall-to-wall baseball from 2 o'clock to midnight. I'm sorry. That's not the way the world works. Maybe college football, some people are like that. To have nothing going tonight, you weren't shortchanging the Dodgers on rest. It would have been tough for the Cubs, the Yankees, the Tigers, for that matter, to turn around and play on the next day. But I'm sorry. It was a missed opportunity for baseball. They got to figure that out next year.
The Yankees get an unbelievable, historic performance, really, from Cam Schlittler. 12 strikeouts, goes over 100 pitches. For all the criticism that we threw at Aaron Boone from Game 1 and moving on from Max Fried, maybe a little prematurely based on, analytics. This was, the kid is dealing, we're going to let him go, and he did. He was unbelievable last night.
And the Yankees get their 4 runs really unorthodox. You think Yankees, okay, we're just going to wait for the Judge bomb, the Stanton bomb, whoever, Grisham. No, it's a little flare to center field, and Bellinger hustling. Who was surprised he ended up at second base without much of a play? First of all, I was like, wait a second, they didn't come up with that? So that started everything. It was small ball for the Yankees that got it done last night, and that's how you got to win. That was a fun atmosphere. I know Toronto has a reputation, and granted, I've been up there and compared it like, people, yay, Blue Jays.
They're so nice north of the border.
Like, anybody who's followed Yankees Jays this year, it started with the Michael K comment saying that's not a first place team. Really? Standings say we're a first place team.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's going to be a little edgy. It's not going to be Yankee Stadium edgy, but certainly that's a fun atmosphere tomorrow.
I was there last week. Do you know the word I hear most whenever I'm in Toronto? Sorry. sorry. Everything is sorry. They're so polite. They're so apologetic. They're so polite. That is not going to be an atmosphere that can rival Yankee Stadium. Absolutely not. And for as good as they were, yes, they did finish as the first place team. Down the stretch, without Bichette, not the same team. Jays fans will be the first to admit it. Bichette was the straw that stirred that team's drink, and he's not going to be available in the division series. I think the Yankees can take advantage of that. I like the Yankees' path. I really do. I think more and more, PJ joining us on Wednesday saying that the winner of the Yankees-Sox wild card series was repping the AL, the American League in the World Series. I'm on board with that 100%. I think the Yankees are going to the World Series.
Well, Kevin Gausman, I view him as just kind of being a guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, 3.86 ERA at home. The dangerous spot about this, it's not a 3-game series, it's a 5-game series.
Yep.
So if you drop game 1, all right, now you've got to take 3 of the next 4 if you're the Yankees, and you've got to make sure you're getting at one of the 2 in Toronto. That's why, like, expanded playoff format, okay, as long as we keep these rounds short, cut to the chase. I mean, this is the max I want to see. And honestly, Danger, I think these teams with the rest have a little bit of a disadvantage. You mean to tell me the Yankees aren't going to be, like, coming in on here? They're not feeling better about themselves?
They're coming in hot.
Yeah.
They're coming in hot. They're not flying under the radar. They won 2 straight games against the Red Sox and did it with some confidence, with some swagger. I like their path. I really do. That'll be exciting. That's tomorrow. So tonight, Section 5 football. Good luck to all the teams and all the families. The WNBA finals start tonight as well. And we'll get baseball, college football tomorrow. And, of course, then Week 5. Week 5 in the NFL. And, by the way, all of this happening in immaculate October weather. Like the best October weather I think we've had in a long time. I don't remember an October like this.
Right. So, like, tomorrow, 4 o'clock, I mean, this is like, you want to be, like, getting the game on the deck if you're into the Yankees.
I'm outside.
Right? Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm outside as much as I can be for the next 2 days. Knowing that the Bills play late on Sunday night, knowing that the Bears can't disappoint me this weekend, my Sunday, I'll watch football, but I'm going to spend as much time outside as possible, soak as much vitamin D, because we know what's coming. We know. We're not wishing for this to end, but I want to take advantage of it as much as possible.
This is going to stay forever here, bud. Like, this will be the year we'll get to
if this
December.
Was, if
like,
you had this in December, our population would increase significantly.
It would double.
Yeah, people
double,
would move here because there's really now the weather is good. But okay, what's not to love about our city? So we'll take advantage of that. We'll enjoy the action while we have it with this amazing. Now it is fall weather here in early October.
Are we concerned about Dorian Williams being out, and we don't know about Matt Milano? Matt Milano is probably going to play, but to like what degree? What is beyond that? Is it going to be a lot of Buffalo, Joe? To me, I'm in a prove-it kind of situation with this Bills defense. They got to prove to me, get off the field on 3rd down. They got to prove to me, like, hey, there's a mobile quarterback. Go get him. Don't get out of your lane here. I feel like I'm the only one in West New York picking the Patriots in this game, but just follow my logic here. Are the Bills going 17-0? No. Will the Bills lose a home game? Maybe. If they lose a home game, who might it be to? It's not the Bengals anymore. Maybe the Eagles. We don't want to say the Chiefs. Could be Tampa. I think this one has the look, Danger, that the Bills have been just a little fortunate that they have number 17 at quarterback. He's not going to pull out everything. I have the Bills losing this one by 4.
This is so sky is falling, Gene. So sky is falling, Gene.
Why you just say, like, is it because the Mets lost? You're in a pissy mood. Why are you so pissy?
Listen, I'll hear your logic, and I think everybody that watches the Bills recognizes there are flaws, that there's some kinks that they're still trying to iron out on both sides of the ball. But I'll always go back to coach, quarterback. I think the Bills have the advantage in both situations. Josh Allen's, for as much as being made of Drake May, Josh Allen is obviously the better quarterback in this matchup. I think Sean McDermott is the better coach over Mike Vrabel in this matchup. I think that the Bills have more talent. I think it's a Sunday night in Orchard Park. They're wearing those fresh white Cold Rush uniforms.
And what's that crowd going to be like?
Unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, go early. If you're going to the game, why not go early? We live in a day and age where you just put up the 1 o'clock finish on your phone, hang out. I mean, you shouldn't be going to this game from Rochester at 5 o'clock. Right? No, you have a beautiful
Make a day of it. Make a day of it and enjoy friends and family and the game and all of the action. I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere. I don't want to say I don't think the Patriots stand a chance, but I did say at the beginning of the season, and I wasn't really joking. Some may think I was half joking. I don't think the Bills are losing a home game this year. It's the final year at Highmark. It means a lot. We heard Deion Dawkins in your sports update talk about how much emphasis Sean McDermott has always put on winning division games and winning home games. Those are the two most important things. They're not losing to the Patriots at home. 28-21, they win. They don't cover. It might not be comfortable like some of their wins have been. I just feel like that's where they are right now. They're going to win games. It might not be pretty, but they are going to win games.
There are two things that I'm going to throw at you that are going to mess with your sense of time. Meaning, and it brings into perspective just how great this run has been for Buffalo. The fact that they don't have a championship, but, man, a lot of wins here. Stat number one, and we've had a lot of Bills memories, right? And you think back to the year where it wasn't a good year, right? You had the shooting, and then you had not one but two storms, right? Think back to storm number one. The Bills are supposed to host Cleveland. They don't. The game gets moved to Detroit, and actually the Bills have to play 2 games that week in Detroit, right, because you're playing on Thanksgiving Day. Why am I bringing this up? Because it's that point in time, on that same day that the Bills beat the Browns in Detroit, the Patriots get a win over the Jets. Who cares, right? I'm bringing that up because that was the last time the New England Patriots won back-to-back games.
God.
And they have an opportunity to do that for the first time since 2022. That's how bad the Belichick era ended. How bad Mr. Mayo was last year. I mean, there is nothing. So you could say, Gene, you're off your rocker. The Patriots still have a lot of building to do. I'll listen to that. I mean, I could be
lost to the Raiders in week 1.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like a good loss right now.
Lost to the Steelers in an ugly game. You fell right into their trap. So, I mean, do you give them a cookie for beating the Panthers? No, you do not. The other stat is this, because you say, okay, like the Bills don't lose games at Highmark, and we know the last time they did lose a game at Highmark. That was on Monday Night Football against the Broncos. Regular season game.
Yep.
Yeah, because you have the Chiefs loss in there somewhere. The last time they lost a regular season game on a Sunday, Diggs is on the team. Josh Allen trying to force feed Diggs the ball because he wants Diggs to have the walk-off shot against his former team, the Vikings. That's the last game. That nutty Justin Jefferson against Cam Ward, Josh Allen fumbling. Just like of all the bat-ass crazy games that the Buffalo Bills have lost, that's the last time the Bills have lost a regular season game at home on a Sunday.
That game was schizophrenic. I remember it well. Was Daboll still the offensive coordinator for the Bills then? Yeah, that game was wild. Cam Lewis getting beat by Justin Jefferson. I think Cam Lewis is still.
Correction, no, he was not. Daboll was not the. He had moved on by.
He had moved on by then.
Correct. Yeah.
Cam Lewis, I think, is still trying to shed that image that we have. I think that's our lasting image of Cam Lewis. And Cam Lewis has made plays for this team. He's stepped up. He's been a great teammate and a great player for the Bills. But that's the image that we'll have. The lasting image is him getting posterized, him getting mossed by Justin Jefferson at a time when you had a play to make and you just couldn't get it done.
How long ago was that? Cook went for 100 yards that day.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook.
Oh, jeez.
Dalvin Cook. Last time he went, had a big game for the Vikings.
That is the one element of the Patriots that gives me pause, and that's their ability to run the football against the Bills defense that's struggled against that. But, Ramondre Stevenson does fumble the football. He has a tendency to put the ball on the turf, so maybe the Bills can capitalize on that and get a takeaway or two, steal a possession or two on Sunday as well. I can't believe I was able to give my prediction this morning on the break room because I had Ryan Duffy from the Let's Go Duffalo podcast. You can check that out on the Odyssey app in literally full-blown lobster costume. I get to call this my career. This is my job.
This is going around. This has gone viral. Him walking in, it's like a blow up kind of costume too. He's got a big tail, and Tommy's doing inappropriate things to the lobster, and like you have to be questioning your life choices, Danger, like your career choice.
Actually, I'm exactly where I belong. I just think I'm exactly where I belong. Yep, this all checks out. This all tracks. It makes sense. This is what I get to do. I get to hang out with a guy who, upstaging Tommy and Duffy and Kimmy by showing up and wearing an inflatable lobster costume, talking about the Bills and the Patriots. 28-21, I have the Bills winning, but not covering. I don't think it's going to be comfortable, but it will be a memorable night. It'll be a fun night in Orchard Park for everybody involved.
Yeah, it seems like the Bills' way, right? Like, they're going to win, but they won't cover. Didn't cover against the Saints, didn't cover against the Dolphins. Pulled one out against the Ravens. Like, okay, you beat up the Jets.
I would love to be wrong, by the way. I would love to be wrong and say that the Bills are going to this will be one-sided, and you're going to go to bed. East Coast dads are going to be happy with the Buffalo Bills because it'll be over by halftime. I would love to be wrong.
Nothing more than, hey, beginning of the third quarter, you're up 35-3. Click, 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 go all the TVs off, and then people are like, you know what, Josh? Sorry, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And
we
everybody gets
have
home.
too much faith.
Yeah.
We have too much faith. We're going to go ahead and call it a night. Is that okay? I would love to be wrong and say that it is going to be a blowout. And just based on talent alone, I think you can make the argument that it should be one-sided, that it should look more like what the Jets game looked like than what the Dolphins game or the Saints game looked like. But this is where we are. I think they get the win. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a comfortable one.
Well, what is everyone think here about this game? 866-4FAN. You're welcome to join us at 866-4326. A resident Jet fan, Peter, calling in. Hey, Peter.
Hey, I'm trying not to talk about the dysfunctional bowl between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets, as painful as it is. I just want to tell you, Bills fans, I have a feeling the call is going to be 38 from the Buffalo Bills, 17 by the New England Patriots. At the end of the day, the AFC East has rolled out the red carpet for the Buffalo Bills. And here's the deal. This could not be a better season for the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. And as the Jets, you cue the Larry David music. Here it is, as always, as Tony Dungy is coming to support Aaron Glenn, which I hope it's going well. But it looks like we're about to be 0-5, and we're about to help the Bills go to the Super Bowl. I'm out, my friends. Have a great weekend. You're the best.
I don't know what Pete's talking about. Justin Fields is going to look like an MVP quarterback against that Dallas defense.
Anybody could look like an MVP quarterback against that Dallas defense.
You're going to have all kinds of hope and optimism after this week, Peter. You're going to see Justin Fields do things you didn't think a quarterback for the New York Jets could do against that Dallas defense. And the only other, you saw what he did against Miami. Those are the two defenses that quarterbacks look like world beaters.
I think the Jets win this game.
Oh,
it'd
be so Dallas for the Jets to win this game.
We're looking up, and you see Jerry all angry up in the box. Peter, appreciate the call. You're welcome to join us at 866-4FAN, 866-4326.
Week 5 got underway last night, Thursday Night Football on Prime, and Gino, I love what I saw out of not just the 49ers, out of Mac Jones. Mac Jones has inserted himself into the conversation again. And you brought up the point that I didn't even think of, because you're a little bit more of a petty Bills fan than I am when it comes to tarnishing the legacy of Bill Belichick. Mac Jones succeeding post-Patriots era is another scar on Belichick's frame. It's just it's an ugly look for a guy who drafted Mac Jones to be the next guy, and when it was all said and done, couldn't get it done with Mac Jones.
Mac Jones as a rookie is okay. Mac Jones actually drives the team down the field final 2 minutes to beat Buffalo and Foxborough. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's an October game. The wing game notwithstanding, but the Patriots also win that one. Like, wait a second. What happens here? Oh, you hired a defensive coordinator to be your OC. That's the guy that's going to mentor a guy who doesn't know anything about offense, and Matt Patricia. And now that we look back at the final years of Belichick, when I don't know. Could we say he was cutting corners? I mean, he seemed more concerned about trying to spot his girlfriend up in the. To me, everything is under review for how those final years of Belichick went in New England, and Mac Jones is at front and center. We've had the reports that Belichick in Mac Jones's last year didn't even talk to his quarterback. How does that work? How does that work, Danger, that your starting quarterback, you don't have a relationship other than you're piping in the play?
It doesn't work.
No. So, again, Mac Jones was just in a situation. We should be rooting for Mac Jones. Like, I want to see him succeed now in San Francisco. I want another mark on Belichick's resume. Oh, by the way, the Tar Heels, 14.5-point underdogs tomorrow. Fantastic.
Yeah, I know a lot of you maybe didn't watch Thursday night football last night because the Yankees were beating the Red Sox. But trust me when I say Mac Jones, that's one of the guttier, grittier performances I've seen out of a quarterback in the NFL in a long time. He's clearly not 100%. He's getting the crap beat out of him. His knee is hamburger, and he's just getting up off the mat and continuing to just deal. Play after play after play. They get the win in overtime, and the Rams didn't do themselves many favors. There was a goal line fumble by Kyren Williams, questionable play call in overtime where they could have certainly taken the lead and won that game. But instead, it's the defense of the Niners holding the Rams on a 4th and short. And Robert Saleh is the defensive coordinator acting as if he's the 12th man on defense. There's a lot of fire even without Nick Bosa and even with all the injuries that Mac Jones had to deal with on offense. The Niners get it done and take control of the NFC West.
Here's a stat that I'm going to tell you, and you're going to say that's not true, and I'm going to tell you, no, it is true. You know that was the biggest upset in the NFL this season?
That's crazy, right?
Isn't it? You'd be like, no, come on, Green Bay losing against Cleveland. No, Vegas, when that ended, Green Bay was a 7.5-point road favorite. When this game opened last night, the Niners were 8.5-point dogs. So that, by point spread, the biggest upset in the NFL this season.
Which is funny. I don't know how you handicap a home field advantage, but it was clearly a Niners crowd at SoFi.
You shouldn't. That should just be, doesn't even factor. That's a neutral field.
That's right. I mean, neutral. It was probably 85% Niner fans in the stands there at SoFi, which is embarrassing if you're the Rams. Just embarrassing. You won a Super Bowl a few years ago. Give it back. That's insane.
Somebody put out Los Angeles years ago, #1 sports town. No, it's not. You have the properties, you have the stars, but the fan base, are you kidding me? Come on. It's Rob Lowe showing up. That's like they don't know what they're cheering
Rob
for.
Lowe, performative male.
Performative male. We learned this week what the performative male means. Rob Lowe right at the top of it.
Wearing his NFL hat.
Mike Danger, not a performative male.
No. Gene Battaglia, even though you went to Fordham, which breeds more performative males than any other school, I would say not a performative male. Maybe when you were at Fordham you were.
Even though I was doing readings in church, maybe for not all the right reasons, and I'll have to answer for that someday, Danger, I suppose. But today I'm not a performative male.
It's correct. Other notes before we get to a round of shots here. Lamar Jackson will not go. Cooper Rush getting the start for the Ravens against the Texans this weekend. If you're getting up early to watch the London game, it's Vikings and Browns. Carson Wentz will again start for the Vikings against Dylan Gabriel, getting his first start in Cleveland. J.J. McCarthy officially out again for the New England Patriots. And something to watch as we get closer to kickoff, the availability of Milton Williams, the defensive tackle for the New England Patriots, who's questionable going into this game, missed some practice time this week. Williams, the big free agent acquisition from Philadelphia in the offseason here for the defense, or the Patriots defense, and just the kind of player that just makes me nervous just because of the size of this man.
That is, if they're you're feeling better about this, right? And what I was saying before, maybe the Bills use the pass to open up the run, but if that guy's not in the middle,
life is a little bit easier.
Life
for
is
Josh
a lot
Allen.
easier.
Yeah.
More of a fantasy note than anything. Brock Bowers for the Raiders. Pete Carroll expects him to go, even though he did not practice today. So you want to talk about load management? Okay, he's got a knee issue. Maybe it's one of those things where he's not going to be practicing throughout the week. Even with the knee issue, he still led the Raiders in receiving yards in that loss to the Bears.
All right, we got a round of shots coming up next, and we still have a last call to get to. What's on deck?
Cam Schlittler is on deck.
My guy.
And not only, and we talked about the history and like where he was from, but then to go after one of the Boston influencers the way he did.
Sports Bar alumni.
That's correct.
She's been on with us.
She has. If you're a Yankee fan, you'll just be like that. That's absolutely perfect. We'll set you up for the college football weekend. We'll talk a little Orange as well. Hey, the NBA. Who showed up fat in camp to the NBA? Did you see this?
I actually heard that Zion is trim.
We had this story while you were out when we talked to Bobby A. Bear that Zion, he's all saying the right things and he's muscular. Okay, prove it to me kind of thing. And we're not talking about the WNBA opening tonight. No, we're not. When Sophie Cunningham says that she's tired of this league, well, there's a follow-up to this story that you'll find amusing.
Very good. We'll get to that and your calls with Last Call when you can have the final word in the Sports Bar at 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326.
You're listening to the
There are a few injuries for the Buffalo Bills to concern themselves with Sunday night. Linebacker Dorian Williams, corner Dorian Strong. They're both out for the game Sunday night. 4 players questionable: Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, Spencer Brown, and TJ Sanders. Oliver and Milano both trending in the right direction. Sean McDermott conscious of Drake May.
Very impressive young player. Can do everything that the quarterback position calls for. He can throw it. He can run it. He scrambles with it. It's clear that I would imagine they feel, excited about the future for him and then for their organization because of his ability.
No baseball games tonight. 4 games tomorrow, including the Yankees and Jays, 4 o'clock in Toronto. The Sabres, they play their final preseason game tonight in Pittsburgh. RIT hockey with an exhibition tomorrow at the Paulicini. Dean Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
Got a smart speaker at home? Listen to the sports leader, the Fan Rochester at home, by asking it to play 95.7 The Fan.
In Buffalo, do you think there are more Yankee fans or Blue Jays fans?
Without question, there are more Yankee fans in Buffalo. I understand they're the AAA affiliate. I understand that, Toronto's an hour and a half up the road. I've spent enough time in Buffalo, Danger. I worked in Buffalo for a few years. Yankees are number 1 in Buffalo over the Jays.
What's disgusting is what the Bills did this afternoon then.
I think it's one of those sneaky...
It's a business move.
That's all that is.
It's an optic.
That's it. What you're talking about is good luck to the Blue Jays. Yeah, and then the Blue Jays tweeting back, and there's a picture of Josh Allen in the Jays jersey taking batting practice.
There's no affiliation between the Bills, the Pagulas, and the Blue Jays. Nothing on paper, no contracts, no affiliation whatsoever other than proximity and the fact that they're probably working out on some kind of a deal.
Let's go back to the year where the Blue Jays actually played in Buffalo.
Right.
I went to one of those games. It's the 4th of July. There's nobody there. When the Red Sox came in, it was all Red Sox fans. When the Yankees came in, they were all Yankee fans. I'm not waving my finger at Buffalo baseball fan. I'm just pointing out that the Blue Jays aren't the team there.
Yeah. I wonder how many Yankee fans saw that tweet from the Bills and said, come on, guys, what are we doing? Really? Really?
I don't need to revisit the Bills International
It
Series
hurts.
in Toronto.
We
don't
need to pick that scab.
Yeah,
it hurts.
That's the one where, great, Pete Coelho's up there with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment.
Well, I think that's
We're
what this
gonna
is,
talk,
right?
yeah,
That's what this is. This is us. This is outreach. Hey, our neighbor is up north. Sorry, our neighbor's up north. Good luck. Good luck in the divisional series. I just think a lot of Yankee fans probably saw that. I know one of our regulars, Rotolo, saw that. He was like, this is disgusting. Disgusting.
Well,
Disgusting thirst.
Yeah, that's like who has the bigger audience for the Bills in terms of fans showing up every week? Is it Southern Ontario coming down, or is it Rochester? It's Rochester. Like Southern, go look at the plates in the in the lots. It's more people from Rochester going to the game. So stop kissing their ass.
No. Well, Yankee fans can be upset at the Bills for sending out that tweet, but you can't be upset at your team after what we saw last night.
Danger, not only did Cam Schlittler pitch the game of his life, 8 shutout innings, 12 strikeouts, he called a shot after. Lucy Burge.
Oh, we know Lucy.
Yeah, we've had her on the show. She was with WEEI. She was with BetQL. And now she's doing her own thing as TMZ labeled her. And yes, she ended up on TMZ today as a betting influencer. She gives betting takes while wearing tight Boston clothing.
She's attractive.
Yeah.
She's attractive.
She has
the algorithm likes beautiful people, so her content gets seen.
The typical content is I'm walking on a Boston street and I'm wearing something attractive and I'm going to do a fit check with my selfie stick, and then I'm going to tell you that I like the Patriots on the money line. Something like simple as that.
She didn't hide her Boston fandom.
No.
She's in Boston. She's from Boston. She used to work at WEEI in Boston with our guy Fitzy, and she's transparent about that. Everybody knows she's a Sox fan and a Boston fan. And this is her gig now. It's partnering with sports books and pumping out content and putting, her promo code on that content. And we've had her on the show. She's delightful. She's sweet and she's attractive, and she knows what she's doing. And the algorithm, as I said, doesn't punish you for being beautiful. The algorithm only rewards the beautiful people.
So with that all being said, yesterday prior to the game, the selfie with the Sox jersey on, caption, Sox in 3. Schlittler responding last night following the game, timestamp 12:46, not this year.
I like the move. I really do. First of all, it puts her in her place. But second of all, it's Schlittler calling his shots.
Well, he knows who she is.
Yeah.
He's from Boston. That's
right.
the storyline. He's from Walpole,
yeah.
Which that's actually north of Foxborough. He knows exactly who Lucy is, probably grew up listening to Lucy. Lucy appears in his feed, and it's like, yeah, you know what? No, I took care of that.
I like it. And it's a gateway to sliding into her DMs. We don't know. Maybe he did. And who knows what his motives are here. But if Schlittler and Lucy ended up being in some kind of a relationship out of this, I think that would be a magical story out of the world of social media and influencers and sports betting and all of it. Like Lucy and Schlittler, two New Englanders together, and it all started with him clapping back at her.
She's in Boston now, but do we consider Connecticut New England? That's on the line.
Well, he grew up a Sox fan. We know that.
No, I'm talking Lucy.
Lucy.
Lucy's from Connecticut. When we had Lucy on, she's also a Met fan. I'm like, wait a second. No. No, I'm sorry. You can't be a Met fan and a Red Sox fan. And she explained, I grew up in Connecticut.
I think she was a Met fan out of convenience last year because the Red Sox weren't in the postseason, and Grimace was fun, and OMG all of it was fun with the Mets last year. This year, not so much.
We're always fun.
Yeah. Not this year, not so much. It wasn't as fun this year for Mets fans. I love that story. His performance was, stating the obvious, it was incredible. It was just incredible. The new rookie record for strikeouts in his postseason debut for the Yankees.
That was 15th start ever, and now, that doesn't look too bad, right? Let Fried go in game 1, and then you follow that up with Rodon, and then you're coming back at home with Schlittler against the Jays. Yeah, if you're a Yankee fan, you got to be feeling pretty good. Today, a travel day in baseball, as we discussed. Why do we not have Dodgers-Phillies tonight? You could have easily done that. No, that's going to be on TBS tomorrow, 6:38. Before that on the network, getting the Houston Texan treatment. This series is going to be, meaning like, hey, we're going to bury this to the afternoon. The Cubs and Brewers, first up, 2:08 afternoon baseball tomorrow. And I know that's got to suck for you, Danger, because you love being outdoors and doing yard work and being a guy, but you also love your Cubs baseball. So how do you handle that tomorrow?
I'll have it on in the garage. I'll put it on the projector in the garage. During the day, the projector is not that great in the garage because of the glare and the sun and the brightness. But at minimum, I'll have it on in the garage.
The Yankees and Blue Jays get the network treatment on Fox, 4:08 p.m. for the first pitch, which, so the Yankees, but the ratings don't count for Toronto. That's an interesting call. FS1 has the Tigers and Mariners tomorrow night at 8:38. Now, of the 4 home teams, it's actually the Mariners that are the biggest favorite on the money line at -200.
The Mariners, to me, just still, like I always say about Seattle, it just feels like a foreign country. I wish I could tell you more about the Mariners, or that I've watched a lot about the Mariners. I don't know much about the Mariners other than Raleigh and what he did this year, which was pretty remarkable. But I don't know that they have more than just Raleigh.
Oh, no, they have the arms here. So, like, if there is one team that's going to say no to the Yankees, that's the team. And you know what? Give that to me. Give that to me, because like the MVP argument we had with Lamar and Josh Allen, hey, if I say, Aaron Judge is the MVP, I'm not putting down Cal Riley, but somehow when we have that vote later on, people will get all worked up about it. Well, you know what? Let's see these two guys go head to head. Sign me up for that ALCS.
I'm in.
North Carolina football back home tomorrow. Bill Belichick's team 14.5-point underdogs to Clemson. Mind you, when we last saw Clemson football, they were losing at home to Syracuse. It's a noon game tomorrow on ESPN. The late afternoon TV window has an interesting one. Number 16, Vanderbilt, undefeated. And number 10, Alabama, 3:30 on ABC. Same time on CBS, number 7, Penn State, looking to bounce back. They're 24.5-point favorites at UCLA. Notre Dame on that same time, 21 Irish, hosting Boise State. The best of the primetime matchups on ABC. Number 3, Miami goes to Tallahassee to face number 18, Florida State at 7:30.
That matchup is the one I love. That's like straight out of 1988, straight out of my teenage years. I like that Miami-Florida State matchup so much. I will absolutely be checking that out.
Yeah, it's a good afternoon tomorrow for that. Meanwhile, the Syracuse Orange, who are they? Are they the team that was, beat a preseason favorite in Clemson? Or are they the team that got beat down at home by Duke? Well, tomorrow the Orange with a road game against a team that we kind of forgot was actually in the playoff last year, Southern Methodist. The Mustangs 17.5-point favorites over the Orange, 3:30 on the ACC network.
Feels like a loss. I'm going to say that because the last time I said it, they beat Clemson. So it feels like a loss.
SMU covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is blowout city. I find this funny. You might find this funny. Well, unless you're a Dallas Maverick fan. One of the reasons Dallas traded away Luka Doncic, or at least we were led to believe, hey, he doesn't keep himself in shape. He's overweight. Didn't take care of himself. Well, showing up at camp this year in Dallas was the main guy they got back in that trade, Anthony Davis. Davis clearly looking like he enjoyed his summer danger, and the Mavs aren't hiding it. This time last year, Davis was listed at 253. Now he's listed at 268. When asked about it, the center shrugging it off, saying he can lose 10 to 15 pounds during camp in a hurry.
Okay.
If you look at him, it's like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, that doesn't
Really?
pass the eye test.
When I saw Zion, I'm like, whoa, who's this guy? Zion's actually put in some work and trimmed down a little bit.
Well, Zion's feeling like Zion.
Ooh, that's good that Zion's feeling like Zion. Maybe he can actually win something. Luka, I'm not worried about. I think Luka in LA long term, he's gonna be a stud. I mean, that's
the baton.
It really is.
LeBron, you want to go to Europe, you want to go play in Saudi Arabia, and just go.
Yeah.
Adios. A follow-up to the story on Sophie Cunningham of the Indiana Fever. She's not alone in blasting the leadership of the WNBA. In her rant, she said she was, quote, tired of the league, amongst other things.
The best.
Well, someone on social suggested to Cunningham that she should start a GoFundMe for the fine that's going to be coming her way. So guess what she did? A fundraiser that's called It's a Joke. Now, in the description of the fundraiser, she writes, this is more of a joke than anything, for fines only, or to charity, or for a yacht. I don't know.
Yes.
Now, as of right now, $9,378 has been raised here, and Sophie making it clear that the money is going to go to the Ronald McDonald House.
That's great. Well, look, if she wanted to set aside a little bit for a fine, what would they fine her for talking bad about the league and the WNBA? A couple $100?
We know this from Caitlin Clark getting fined for commenting on the officiating. She got fined $200.
Yeah. So the $5,400 or whatever she's raised so far, just earmark a couple $100 and say, if I get fined, I'm good.
Well,
everything else goes to charity.
I would think, though, and I think this is a really bad sign for, where does the WNBA rank? Because it's on TV, and we like Caitlin Clark, but to me, what Cunningham is saying and what this is, it's a referendum. It's a joke. It's a passive-aggressive way to saying this league, this leadership, it's a joke. And if you're a WNBA fan, donate here, and we're going to make a statement. And you mean to tell me $9,000, that's it? That's it? Danger. WBE just raised $134,000 for the same charity.
Right.
That's it. We overvalue people being interested in the WNBA. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's being jammed. It's clearly being jammed. And there are people that are interested in it. I'm not going to take it. I know that there are fans out there. There are people that will pay attention. There are people that follow their team through the course of the year. But I think the majority of sports fans know this is being jammed. And I'd much rather be talking about the play on the court. The finals get underway tonight. It's Vegas. It's Phoenix, and we spend more time talking about Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark and their court antics.
Yeah, and like the Star from the Links, everybody's just piling on here on the commissioner. commissioner should step aside. There should be a new CBA. I haven't gotten to this, too. The National Lacrosse League. Their commissioner today saying that 85% of the teams in the league lost money. So I'm not sure if we're going to have a season this year or not.
Oh, boy. So the CBA is still being negotiated.
Yeah, and they want to put a cap at $800,000 for each team in terms of payroll. So, and I don't know where the payroll is at right now, but that's a league. There's no real TV money coming in from that league. Yes, the games are on ESPN Plus, but they're not paying for it. So it's a problem. And I as excited as I am for the new era of Rochester Nighthawks lacrosse, I just see this storm on the horizon that, okay, we might have to wait this out for a few months.
Okay. Well, look, if the unserious leagues need a little time to get serious, I'll be patient. But I'm excited for that new era of Nighthawks lacrosse with the Seneca's ownership and them coming in and, saying all the right things, hopefully doing all the right things once the league can get a CBA done and they can talk about what's going to actually happen inside the box. Fun show this afternoon. Damon Amendola, host of the Bill Maddock podcast, stopped by last hour. We also spoke with Thad Brown and his amazing Cavs. News 8 Sports. He joined us in the 3 o'clock hour. If you missed either conversation, get your fix, your Bills Patriots preview from either of those conversations. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. Search out The Sports Bar. You can find us in the Odyssey app, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, YouTube, our channel, The Fan Rochester, where we stream live every afternoon. Like and subscribe, and you'll always know when we're going live. JR Sport Brief next. Enjoy this weekend, Gino. Have a good one, buddy.
Thanks, you too, Dave.
Take care. Thanks for listening. The Fan Rochester.
You're listening to the